I've been down the road where failure seemed familiar. No one thought that I would ever come this far. When everything was telling me that it was over, still fire burning in my heart. Would ever come this far. When everything was telling me that it was so hard, I couldn't feel I never knew I made it high enough to do this. I'm getting close, stronger than I ever so hard. I believe that I'm unstoppable. I believe I've only just begun. My peak I will, and there's nothing that can ever. I am living proof that nothing is impossible. I beat the odds when hope was nowhere to be found. There was a strength that carried me through every obstacle. I'm living and lets me know that it's too late to give up now. And I am not afraid to climb another mountain. The strength that carried me on to face my deepest darkness. Live a dream much bigger than I can imagine. 'Cause I want the world to know that I am here. I believe that I'm unstoppable. I believe I've only just begun. I will conquer, fly, reach my peak, I will. And there's nothing that can ever bring me down. I believe that dreams are untamable. And I believe that wings were made to fly. How can you promise to the impossible? And there's nothing that can ever bring me down. I'm one to live with everything I hope to be. I am one step closer to the finish line. I know that every stride will lead me to my destiny. And I'm reaching what is mine. I believe that I'm unstoppable. I believe I've only just begun. I will conquer, reach my peak, I will. And there's nothing that can ever
right. Morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you may be joining from. I want to especially welcome everyone to the day 2 of the Career Summit 5.0. We are pretty excited to have you in here. All right, so day 1 was a blast. I don't know, but those of us who were present can tell you the testimonies. All right, we learned a lot. We got so much value and a lot of things that we're able to implement. All right, we're going to implement in our careers moving from today. So if you were here yesterday, let me just take a snapshot of those that were present yesterday. So we have about 25 persons joining in right now. So I'm jumping to the comments now. You were here yesterday. Could you jump in on the comments and just let us know if you were here yesterday? Jump in on the comments and say, I was here yesterday. I got so much value from, mention the speakers. Let me say that again. If you were here yesterday, jump in on the comments, get into the comments and let us know yesterday. I got so much value. Mention the speakers that blessed you. All right. And then use your favorite emoji to create some excitement about your journey after today, about how your career is going to turn out after today. Let's see those jumping. Let's see the first person that will be doing that in the comments. You probably get a gift. Yesterday we didn't give out gifts. Okay. I will ensure that today. But let me see the first person to drop that in the comments. Jumping. Let's see the first person. Hey, Shehu Sunshine. I was here. You didn't complete it though. I said I was here yesterday. I got so much value. Okay. From mention the speakers. But let me see the first person to drop that in the comment. Jumping. Let's see the first person. Hey, Shehu Sunshine. I was here. You didn't complete it though. I said I was here yesterday. I got so much value. Okay. From mention the speakers. But let me see the first person to drop that in the comment. Jumping. Let's see the first person. Hey, Shehu Sunshine. I was here. You didn't complete it though. I said I was here yesterday. I got so much value. Okay. From mention the speakers. But let me see the first person to drop that in the comment. Jumping. Let's see the first person. Hey, Shehu. Okay, so admin, I'm getting a, what do they call this now? Is it echo or reverberation of what I've said? All right, that's the reason why I paused a while. But please check that in. I'm hearing myself like delay I'm hearing myself like delay of what I've said. So I don't know, please check that out. Let's ensure the needful is done. Okay, so let me go back to the comments now. I see the comments already full. Kim Sunshine, you said I was here yesterday. It was an excellent delivery and insightful section. And Kiri says, I was here yesterday. I got so much value from Donna. That's it. So Kiri, you're the first person to drop in exactly what I want. All right, you probably get a gift. And then Amy Solua says, I was not here yesterday. I did not get the link or message. Oh, so sorry about that. Jump in on the group right now. If you're not in the group, please ask for the link to join the groups. Everything was posted in the group, the link to join. Okay, or check your emails. You should have gotten that. If you didn't get in your primary email, please check spam folder or promotions folder if you're using Gmail. Baymin says, I was here yesterday and I was blessed by Madam Donna. Yeah, she was really, really a blast. She was amazing. Her story was touching. All right, a lot of us connected with that story. I said, I got so much value from Marty DA and Dr. Ruben. Absolutely. In short, all the speakers yesterday were just so phenomenal. Fun. Since I was here yesterday and I got so much value from the lady that spoke last. You don't know her name? All right, go and check out the YouTube channel and get her name. Hey, Esther, I'm seeing familiar names already. All right, these are my people. Esther Aribi says, I was here yesterday from President and Chairman of Council, Dr. Olusegun Mojid. So you mean those two statements he talked about yesterday about value, all right, must have blessed you. Value is defined by the receiver, not the giver. You either add value or get out of the way, all right? That was his nugget yesterday that really shook everybody, all right? Chika says, I was here yesterday and got so much value from Donna. Awesome. All right. Esther says, I got value from Dr. Brian Ruben. Oh, JMAT Training Academy says, I was here yesterday. I got so much value. And then Aribi again says, I got so much value from TDA. Awesome. Keep that coming. Choma Messi says, I was here yesterday. I got so much value from Dr. Olusegun, Dr. Brian, Duna. In short, you got so much value from all the speakers. That's great. Umfon says, I was yesterday. I got so much value from Dona Fegan Pascal. Awesome. Let's keep that coming. Sharing yesterday. Sheun Sunshine says, from the opening remarks by Sheun Mojid, where he talked about positioning has to do with the values we carry and the values we deliver, qualities of ethics and good mentor. Awesome. Aribi has mentioned like 4 times again. Yesterday was a blast. Absolutely. Yesterday was just phenomenal. Philo says, I was here yesterday and I got so much value. From who? From Dr. Ayo, right? Yeah, Dr. Ayo was also awesome yesterday. Chika says, I'm expecting my gift from yesterday. Oh, absolutely. You're going to get your gift. You got the gift for, I guess that should be the first person to ask questions, right? I guess so. All right, you should get a gift from Dr. Ayo, all right? You should get a gift from Dr. Ayo. So Dr. Ayo, please, you have a gift to send to Chika, who was the first person to ask a question. I didn't notice, again, those were the most engaging, but let's put that to today. The most engaging participant will get a gift, all right? And then the third one, nobody was able to get the third one yesterday. Those who were present in all 5 sections, 5-star generals for the career summits, all right? We were supposed to get a gift. So no problems, Chika, you will get a gift, get your gift. Chekina says, yesterday was very interesting and I'm still digesting what was spoken. Every speaker had a nugget to share. However, will Lucy Mutoni still be expected? And I keep praying. All right, Chekina, keep praying. All right, you should be on your knees right now, be fasting. All right, so that Dr. Lucy, all right, is going to be around today. Absolutely. Okay, all right, we're going to get straight right on right now into the sections for today. All right, but keep this coming. Let's keep this coming. If you were here, I think we'll still have a lot of people joining in. You were here yesterday. Let's know you were here, just as I was here yesterday. And I got so much value from mention the speakers. If you want us to also add what you got value, your value, you can also add that. I got so much value that you can mention some of the things that were valuable to you, some of the nuggets you got from the sections, so that those who were here yesterday can just get like a snapshot or a appraisal kind of what happened yesterday. So let's keep that coming. All right, so we have about 27 plus almost 30 persons right now join in. So I expect more persons to jump in on the comments and let us know, right, what you got yesterday. Say, I was here yesterday. It was a blast. I got so much value from mention the speakers. I probably mentioned the things that really resonated with you from yesterday's section. All right, we're going to be having the syndicate session today. Is going to be off the charts. All right, this is where you're going to connect with those who are in your field. All right, our speakers yesterday that spoke about things that occur to them, things that happen to them, I think, based on particular topics. But in the syndicate sections, people that are in your field, we're going to be speaking to you All right. This is like commonality. People who understand what you're going through, people understand how to actually navigate and position yourself for global opportunities in your career, in the same career that you are right now, right? If you're in medicals, right, medical doctor will be addressing you. If you're in engineering, an engineer will be addressing you. So I read the profile of the engineer. I'm like, wow. All right. It was like a grass to grace kind of a grass to grace personality. Someone who has done so much in the manufacturing sector. You'll be blown from today's section. So I want to encourage everyone. All right. Don't miss out of the syndicate sections. All right. Don't miss out of the syndicate sections. All right. The links for the syndicate sections will be dropped in the WhatsApp groups. The links for the syndicate sections, all right? The Zoom links for the syndicate sections will be dropped in the WhatsApp group at least about an hour before the time. So roughly around maybe 11:30 or 11:45, we're going to drop the groups, 11:45 before 12. That's 11:30, 11:45, 12 o'clock. We will drop the links that you will use to join the syndicate groups, all right? So put an eye on the WhatsApp groups. Put an eye on your WhatsApp groups. As soon as we are ready to break into the syndicate section, you will go back to the WhatsApp group to find the links you will use to join the syndicate section. So let's get that. We need to know about that. All right. So if you have people who are not registered right now, I don't know, I think the registration portal has been shut, but you can actually send them the links for the YouTube link. So very shortly, one of the moderators will be dropping the YouTube links in the comment section. You can post that on your WhatsApp group, on your WhatsApp status. You can put that on your social media. So those who are not registered can also join us to benefit from, all right, the sections, the career summit that we're having today. Okay. So let me go back to the comments. All right. I think Kemisola says, I think Kemisola is from the one joining from Kenya or so. If I could remember, yeah, Kemisola was here yesterday. All right, Kemisola says yesterday was very interesting, and I'm still digesting what was spoken. Every speaker had a nugget to share. However, with Lucy still expected. All right. I hope she will. Abiageli says I was here yesterday and it was a blast. Leah, yeah, I remember Leah. I think Leah is for Kenya yesterday. So I was here yesterday. I got so much value from Dr. Ruben. Hey, all right, what caught her was innovation plus marketing is equals to success. All right, and then TDA, mentorship accelerates career growth. After I tested a potential mentor that I've been following for some time, and today she responded positively. I will be meeting her soon. Yay! That's testimonials, all right? So if you are not implementing, you are leaving a lot on the table, all right? Beyond everything you've heard from yesterday, the key to the results is implementation. It's what we call action, all right? It's what we call action. Anthony Robbins says not action, but massive action. You need to take action. You need to implement everything you're learning. If you don't implement, no results. No results, okay? So we'll be starting exactly by 11. Exactly by 11, we're going to start our first plenary speaker for today, but I'm going to check out if she's, the plenary speaker is already around. But let me just finish up with Leah. Leah says, if you do not believe in yourself, that's from Duna, no one will. Confidence is crucial for career growth. Absolutely. Thank you, Leah, for dropping that in. Okay, just a minute. All right. So moderators, so we don't get a lot of things mixed up. Let's just hold on. Maybe around 11:30, between 11:30 and 12, we can drop the groups, the links for the syndicate sections. All right. So somebody doesn't click that link now and go and be waiting. All right. Okay. So drop the links at 11:30, 12. All right, for the syndicate sections. Please, those links will be dropped in the WhatsApp groups. Don't forget that, in the WhatsApp group. So if you're not in the group, please locate and join your WhatsApp groups and keep an eye for the Zoom links to join your syndicate section, which will be starting at exactly 12:30. So we'll be having 2 speakers this morning. All right, 2 speakers before the syndicate section. One will be taken by Dr. Victor, all the way from UK, and the other one will be taken by, let me check just to confirm. Okay, just a minute. Okay, so the YouTube link, can somebody paste it on the comments section on the Zoom so that we can share, put on a status, put it on a WhatsApp status. You can share it on social media so others can join, and also others can listen to it over and over again after today's section. Okay, so I was trying to check out. All right, so we have Dr. Victor, who'll be taking one of the plenary sections, and then we'll be having Oni Tomine take out another section. All right, so those 2 plenary sections will be happening today. All right, we'll be having those sections. The first one will come at 11 o'clock, which is about a few minutes from now. And then the next session follows after that. And then we're going to go into the syndicate sections. All right. Kemi Sola says, I was here yesterday. I learned from Donna Pascal that I'm not different. I'm sorry, that I'm not confident. You say I'm not confident? I'm confident. That if I'm not confident, then I shouldn't expect others to be confident in me. Absolutely. This is so important. TDA says mentoring should be treated as a relationship and clarified between the 2 relationships of coaching and mentoring. Dr. Ruben says our thoughts should now be global. Yeah, so let me add to that, all right? If you are not opening to global problems, forget global positioning, all right? You must love problems that are happening globally, all right? You must be interested in global issues for you to be able to position yourself to solving global problems, all right? Be a solution. So if you want to be relevant globally, you must love global problems. You must be open to global problems. I'm just adding to that because for me, if you ask me anything in my sleep, I will tell you that, all right? Amongst other things that I got. Okay, so he said our thought now should be global. Why, Mr. Shegun, give us the elements of strong work ethics. I'm also enrolling in TDA's mentoring program. Yay! So TDA, you just got a new student, all right? She says she's logging in from Cote d'Ivoire. Thank you, Kemisola. Yes, absolutely. Sorry. Is it Kenya? No. Cote d'Ivoire is Abidjan, all right. The capital is Abidjan, so Cote d'Ivoire country, right? Now we have people joining from Kenya, we have people joining from Cameroon, we have people joining from Cote d'Ivoire, people joining from Canada, joining from the UK. Wow, Career Summit has gone global. Wow. Yeah, that's it. That's what we're talking about. Okay, so as we get ready to receive our first plenary speaker, let me be sure. Let me know if a moderator that's going to be bringing that on in is in the room. Okay. All right, so our moderator is ready. At exactly 11, he's going to be taking that and then introducing our first plenary speaker that will be taking us for the Career Summit Day 2. Day 2. All right, we can keep that coming. For those of us who are joining Day 2 for the first time, please jump in on the comments. Just let us know where you're joining from, your name, and probably your name and your location. Just tell us which country you're joining from. We'll be excited to know exactly where you're joining from. And for those who are also joining in right now, let us know either in YouTube or on the Zoom. All right, just tell us, I was here yesterday. I learned so much from mention the speakers and then mention exactly what you learned yesterday. And then you're going to implement it. You can add that to it. All right, so we go into Day 2 of the Career Summit. All right, we're going to have in 2 sections and then a syndicate section. But to bring our first speaker in, I'll be inviting right now a co-moderator who's going to be inviting our first plenary speaker, Ubente Ubang. Over to you, sir.
Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening to everyone, depending on where you are joining us. I want to sincerely thank Mr. Terry so much for the wonderful work he has already been doing. It has not been a very easy one since yesterday, and to be sincere, he's doing a very great work. So we are going to be introducing the profile of our first plenary speaker for today, who I'm checking to see if he's here with us already. As we know, we are going to have the first speaker, which is Mr. Tomini Oni. He's going to be the person that will be talking to us this morning. So let me check to ensure he's here before I roll out his profile. Okay, I'm seeing that he's yet to join us here. He's yet to join. Okay, while we are trying to contact him, let us just hear a brief profile about him so that once he is here, he can just kickstart his session. Mr. Tomini Oni is the Chief Human Resource Officer for the TGI Group, a multinational conglomerate with headquarters in Lagos, Nigeria, with operations across West Africa, India, and Dubai. Before joining TGI, he was HR Director at Friesland Campina. He has 28 years plus of relevant HR performance, improvement, and change management experience across different sectors, such as management, consulting, oil and gas, FMCG, manufacturing, public service, and non-profit in Nigeria, Norway, and the United Kingdom. Tomini Oni's purpose is to nurture talent and to grow leaders. Ladies and gentlemen, for a lot of people who are in his category, they like simplifying their profile in such a way that you will not think so much of them. But I will tell you, this is someone I know in person. I could remember my time in Friesland, and he happened to be the HR director then. So this profile cannot even say what Mr. Tomini has done for the HR community all over Africa, not just in Nigeria, and the world entirely. So just briefly, Mr. Tomini will be joining us, who is going to do justice to this session, because we know very well that we need him so that he can share how he was able to navigate all through this period. We know Friesland is not a very small company. For you to work as an HR director there, where you are overseeing a lot of branches. Then moving on to TGI, which is also a national an international conglomerate. So we are going to have Mr. Tomini Oni this morning, who is going to share a lot on this. So just in a few minutes, he will be joining us. We are trying to establish connection with him. Okay.
On the road where failure seemed familiar, no one thought that.
So for now, we will go back to our theme song, which is one of our major areas that we have been drawing our inspiration from all through the summit, right from day one. So we will.
Burning in my heart, there were days I felt like I was at my lowest. I pushed so hard I couldn't see beyond the pain. I never knew.
Okay, sir, I can see you are already in the platform here. So you have you can start your session. We have already done your introduction, and we believe the whole participants here are already excited to hear from you.
Yeah. Thank you very much.
You're welcome, sir.
Thank you very much, Mr. Mbang. Yeah, so I'm delighted to be here and to speak on the topic brain circulation. And I just want to say that I'm kind of thankful and grateful to Dr. Ayo and all the organizers of this program. I've been following up since yesterday, and it's really been a good one. I don't know if we can project my slide, but I just wanted to start by saying that the world has really moved on since COVID, and a lot of dynamics have come into play in the world of work, especially in the areas where talent find expression where it is needed. So it is no longer news that we could sit down in the comfort of our sitting rooms or bedrooms, even somewhere in Nigeria or Ghana or Ethiopia or South Africa, and work, for an organization in Canada or Australia or the UK or the US. So a whole lot of dynamics as coming into the place of work. If I ask participants to put in the chat right now, just to ask you, how many of your colleagues, schoolmates, do you know that are abroad? Just put numbers, 1, 2, 10, 5. Let's just use that as a startup activity. Can we do that in the chat, and I'll pick them up. So, how many of your colleagues or your friends or schoolmates are already now somewhere else outside of Nigeria working? Yeah, so keep the responses coming. Yeah, so 26, 25, 13, 5, 15, over 20, 14, I guess. So when you see those responses, then you would get to understand that when we're talking about brain circulation, it is not really a new phenomenon. It's something that has been happening since the beginning of the world. So let's check it. When we say that the world is made for only those who are adaptable, since the beginning of the world, the only thing that has been constant is change. And the only people who survive are people who can change, embrace the change, people who are adaptable. So definitely from the beginning of the world, you see that brain circulation has been happening. The only thing is that, it's increased, in momentum. So for example, in Europe, after World War I, World War II, there were a lot of people, especially technocrats, scientists, engineers, who moved, from Germany, the Germanys of this world, or from France, and they moved to the US. Okay, then again, you follow that with a lot of movements that we've seen from, China and India, of, IT professionals or scientists, and they've migrated and moved on to the US. So when you look at the population of, entrepreneurs in the US, especially in Silicon Valley, you'd realize that a whole lot of them are people from outside US. So really, talent goes to where it finds expression. But now you don't even need to move physically before your talent can find expression. So I'm aware of a couple of companies in Nigeria and a couple of IT professionals and engineers in Nigeria who are busy working for organizations, in Canada, in the US, in the UK. So it's really a phenomenon that has come to stay, especially now that we have a lot of systems and tools that would allow people to work from anywhere in the world. So I just want to encourage, mid-career joiners, new career joiners, experienced career joiners, to really see this topic as expanding the frontier of your talent and my talent, in the world, because we now live in a world that is borderless, so to speak, for talents. So it's not just picking up a visa and then getting on a plane. It can also be that you sit down in your office, you sit down in your house in Nigeria, and you do business abroad. But basically speaking, brain circulation, which is the topic, my topic for today, actually developed as a response to the predecessor, which is brain drain. So there was a lot of complaint, from countries that are underdeveloped and developing countries, that the developed countries were taking all their talents. And there were some discussions around, while that is true, it may also be true that instead of brain drain, what we are having is brain circulation, because, as talents move from one place to the other, they're also moving, from that particular place to another place. That's number one. Number two, it's also about the fact that when talents move around in the world, there are benefits. Even to the countries where the talents are living, there are benefits. So you want to stand back and say, what could be the benefits, of brain circulation? And definitely one of them will be the fact that we're having an all-round development, around the world. Reason is, as more talents move around, they do not forget where they moved from. And so one way or the other, there's a development going on, either in terms of finances or in terms of skills and acquisition of skills, in terms of technology. So an example is China and India. At some point, there was a lot of exit of talents, from these countries, to the Western world. And, the people will say when talents move, it's brain drain, because they go to develop the other countries that they move to with their technology, with their, intelligence, and with their know-how. However, what we've seen is that after some time, you begin to see the, flow back to the origin, to the country of origin, because people then tend to go back and develop their countries. I'm not sure whether anyone has seen Madam Okonjo-Iweala's short clip of video that was released recently, where she talked about Japa and I think it was Kappa that she called it, but some people call it Jakpada. But the Jakpada is not derogatory. It's just about how talent move. They develop themselves, acquire more skills and knowledge, and then one way or the other, they kind of repatriate that knowledge and skill to their country of origin, or they repatriate their finances to their country of origin. In that sense, we realize that everything about talent is circulating around the world, and that the world is then rest of the world is able to develop at a faster speed because of the talent that has kind of gone out of their countries or the countries of origin. So you begin to wonder, what would have happened if we did not have brain circulation? What would have happened if people didn't leave, from one country to the other? It will mean that there will be significant delay, in the development of underdeveloped countries or developing countries to catch up with the rest of the world. But because we now have talents that have moved on, to the developed world, it becomes easier, for the developing countries to catch on, because you have representatives over there who are beginning to develop themselves and come into their own. You want to look at the experience of Africa. And when we talk about Africa, we cannot, but emphasize Nigeria. So there's been a lot of challenges, for example, when it comes to health workers, So you talk about the exit of doctors, you talk about the exit of nurses, radiographers, and all of that. And then you see them doing very well, you know, in Western countries. So on one side, you want to say, oh, that is brain drain. However, when you see what those guys have done in terms of knowledge and skills and attributes that they brought back, you know, to Africa, then you begin to see that, oh, it's no longer brain drain, it's actually brain circulation, it's brain gain. So there are a couple of hospitals that we are beginning to have in Africa, you know, that are very modern, and that the surgeons, the doctors, are doctors that are practicing abroad, and then they come back to Africa to establish. Or if they've not been established, they come back to Africa to, you know, carry out surgeries and consultations, you know, like every month or every other month or every quarter. Now, what that means is that a number of people who would have flown, you know, kind of gone abroad for medical attention, yeah, are able to get the attention in Africa because the African doctors and surgeons and nurses that have gone abroad, you know, to train and to work, and they've got all the knowledge and, you know, skills, are coming back in a way to give back and to establish, you know, much more modern medical practice in Africa. So that way, our brain is ultimately becoming brain gain and is becoming the brain circulation. However, it will require the, you know, utmost effort of government to make this happen at scale. Yeah, it's happening right now, but we need it to happen at scale like it has happened in India and in China. So one example I can give, I don't know if you're in the medical line, pharmaceutical line, there's a company called Ranbaxy. Now, the founders of that company, they are making generic, you know, medication or medicines, generic pharmaceutical companies. They were students in the US, for example, 2 of them. And after some time, when they graduated and they started working in the US, you know, it got to a point they said, oh, we're going back home. We're going back to India. We're going to start, you know, a pharmaceutical company. We're going to start making drugs. And today, that company makes, I don't know, maybe 60% of some of the drugs that you have in circulation in the world. Now, that's the kind of thing that you would also like, you know, to see Nigerian pharmacists do. However, what I learned is that we need to make the, you know, business environment, you know, ease of doing business easier, because we realize that some of the Nigerian pharmacists have actually gone back home and tried to do this, but some of them get frustrated after 1, 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, and they go back to the US or Canada or the UK. But again, it can be done, but we need to borrow a leaf, you know, from India, from China, in terms of how do we ensure that we're able to attract, you know, these talents that have gone abroad and are doing great things. How do we ensure that we're able to attract them back home and they can establish and help us develop at scale? I have another example. So you hear a lot about the electric vehicles, you know, the electrification of mobility in the world. Now, when you check around the world, you will realize that there are a lot of Africans who are specialists in these areas. They're all over the world. They're working for, you know, very good brands of automobile in the automobile industry. They are the technical brain, for example, behind all the electrification, the creation of the batteries and the rest that power, you know, electric vehicles. Now, there must be a way for Africa to kind of attract them back home, yeah, repatriate them back home. But you cannot take that away. That kind of environment that you create needs to be very stable, because these guys are used to, you know, secure environment, safety, you know, 24/7 power and all the rest. And I believe that in Africa we can do that. That can happen. We are beginning to see some of it happen in Rwanda, for example. And I believe a lot of other African countries can also catch up on that. But we need to ensure that we get all the gains from brain circulation. Right now, what we are getting is the diaspora financial repatriation. They're sending money home, yes. Of course, and with the value of the African currencies, it's easy to send £1,000 or $1,000 back home, and it's looking good. But what you want more than ever is not just the money. The money is good. Foreign direct investment is good. The inflow is coming from diaspora Africans. But what you want much more than that, is development at scale. You want many of the Africans in diaspora to come back home, establish industries, employ more people, develop more people, and then the whole continent can begin to catch up, with the West. And that way, then we begin to see brain circulation in its real sense. I look at all the other sectors that we have in the world. I mean, for example, education sector. For example, I'm speaking from the UK, and if you go to the websites of UK universities, you would hardly go to any one of them that you will not see, an African name, either from Kenya or Nigeria or Ghana or Ethiopia or South Africa, Zambia. They are all there. So imagine a situation where many of these guys, can come back home and teach in our universities. Imagine the technology they will come back with. Imagine the system they will come back with. Imagine the practice and the abilities they will come back with. And then you then begin to realize that there's a lot of gain, in brain circulation that we need to make happen. But for career people, especially new career joiners, mid-career joiners, I think the import or significance of this topic is to show you that your talent cannot be limited. It cannot be put in a box. It cannot be put in a geographic map to say, oh, you are in Lagos, or you are in Addis Ababa, or you are in Accra, or Joburg. Rather, your talent, even though domiciled in a particular geography, can actually work for you outside your geography. It can work for you globally, anywhere in the world. And that today, IT, the technology industry has made it very easy for us to be able to leverage on our talents for the benefit of humanity across the globe. And I think that's the importance of this topic in terms of, yes, you may think that your talent is located in a geography, but actually your talent is useful beyond your geography. And there have been many examples like that. For example, in the medical field, for example, there are a lot of people now who are establishing hospitals back in Africa or back in the developing world, like maybe in Cuba or Trinidad and Tobago and the rest. So it's becoming easy, to do that. However, what are the skills that we need to be focusing on to develop ourselves? It doesn't matter your functional expertise. You may be a finance guy, you may be an operations person, you may be a supply chain expert, whatever. But are there skills, that we need to begin to develop and leverage so that our talents can really be useful globally? So let's check. What are the top 5 skills and the most talked about skills that we're talking about in the world today? Let's check the understanding in this forum. If you can hit the chat, you can begin to just put it in the chat, and then I can read them out. What are the top 5 skills that you see changing the whole world today? Let's start keeping them coming. So I'm waiting for the first one. IT skills. Yeah, IT skills, very broad. So if you can break that down, there are a couple of skills under IT. Data analysis, yes. AI, yes. Yeah, another data analysis. Project management, yes. Yes, project management is also there. Healthcare givers, Mm-hmm. Yes. But what are the skills in that? Data science. Yeah, okay. So maybe I'll pause here. Public speaking, you can add storytelling. Yeah, but let me pause here and just look at you know, quantum computing, for example, or artificial intelligence, for example. Now, this every sector, every industry is being disrupted by technology. So we are right in terms of IT skills. But there are a lot of, kind of buckets under that. And the earlier we can begin to develop our skills, and leverage, on the knowledge economy when it comes to technology, the better for us. So, for example, you begin to look at your own expertise. Let's say, for example, you are a quality expert, maybe in the food industry. What you begin to think, the question that will nudge you now is, what is the interface between my profession, quality, and technology? How is technology either disrupting my technical area today, or how will technology disrupt my area of expertise tomorrow? Same thing goes for HR. What is the interface between technology and HR? How will technology disrupt HR? How is it disrupting HR right now? And how will it further disrupt HR into the near future? Now, it is those people who are able, to gain certain insight from these questions, get the responses or answers, and then do something about it that will be relevant or remain relevant in their fields. So, excuse me, so if you go through a lot of the social media outlets, you would see a whole lot of disruptions going on when it comes to AI, artificial intelligence, and advanced computing, in all the fields. So I attended a couple of programs and seminars on AI, for example. I've also kind of joined some kind of groups on AI, and honestly speaking, it's mind-boggling the kind of things that will change, are changing, but will still change in different fields we are. And there is no sector that it will not disrupt. Even the new sectors of renewables, for example. There's going to be a lot of changes happening. But let's look at, HR field, for example. People have argued that a whole lot of tasks in human resources will either be taken over by AI or just outsourced. And the simplest example you can give of AI now is ChatGPT 4.0. Now, if you've used that tool, you would see that there's a lot that it can do for you. And recently, I've been using that to help people kind of, rewrite their CVs, for example, write their cover letters, write applications, and a whole lot of things. But again, you can ask lots of questions, from AI tools, and it will give you answers. But again, it can also be garbage in, garbage out. So if you don't ask the right answer, the right questions, or you don't ask it to give you specifics, it will come back with a lot of generic things. And if you don't go through it, then of course you'll be seen as very tidy, and you're not very detailed oriented. So let's talk about, in the area of HR, let's talk about HR policies. Or let's even talk about, there's an emergency concerning maybe an employee, and how do you treat that? How do you handle that? Before now, you have to be an expert in employee relations. You have to be an expert in, negotiating with unions. But now you can be a novice and ask ChatGPT to help you, give you all the steps, and then carry all of that, refine it, and then go sit down with someone who is experienced and do your cross-checking. And then you realize that it's already answered for you almost 70% of the questions. that you will not need to go ask again. So if you move into the area of law also, you know, and you're asking a lawyer to advise you on a particular case, yeah, between maybe your employee and your company, you could also put all that complaints and the letter from the lawyer of that employee or ex-employee and put it on ChatGPT and say, advise me, what do we do? And you come up with almost everything that the lawyer will come up with. So we're saying that there's a lot of disruption in the environment. Look at the area of education, mathematics, physics, chemistry, name it. Now students, many more students are jumping on the bandwagon of using AI, you know, to solve problems, to do homework and all of that. Of course, there will be some kind of a drawback, because if you don't learn how to climb, you know, the stairs to maybe the 3rd floor of a building, and you're only used to the elevator, or to the 13th floor of a building, and you're only used to using the elevator. The day the elevator breaks down, for example, are you going to sit down by the door of the elevator and not make any movement? So there will be some certain drawbacks in terms of, you know, how people develop from the foundation to the rooftop, rather than you just jump to the rooftop without having to go through the foundation and climbing the stairs from the 1st floor to the 7th floor. So in terms of, you know, how people are supposed to develop, AI is going to make a lot of people lazy. It's going to happen. Then recently, we also heard from Mr. Bill Gates, but also from one of the founders of AI, who was talking about, you know, the morality, you know, of AI and what it means for the world. When AI, because AI can think on its own, and it will continue to think on its own and get better. So it's going to get to a point where you're asking yourself, could this thing do something that is unethical? Could this thing, you know, allow people to develop a product, you know, that will be so unethical, that will be so destructive? And I think that is now the new topic that is now, you know, kind of in the minds of, you know, people in the technology field, people in AI, because even the US governments are beginning to then say, hey, we need to start talking about this now. It's the most important topic, because nobody can stand in front of a moving train. So artificial intelligence has already taken over, but it's not too late to begin to then look at how do we moderate, how do we legislate, how do we regulate the use of AI. But those are just examples, you know, in the realms of brain circulation. Now, if you go back to, you know, a whole lot of the development and ideas, you know, ruling the world today, then you will realize that the brains behind those ideas and developments are not limited to a particular race or a particular geography. It's been a whole lot of brain circulation, talent movement around the world, you know, coming together in a space and working together, you know, raising ideas to an exponential level that makes new initiative to come true. So in essence, the whole world is benefiting from brain circulation. Yeah. And we need to make sure that that benefit that is coming from brain circulation permeates through from the developed world to the developing world and to the underdeveloped world. And that for talents and individuals, you know, who are in their different careers, either as new joiners, mid joiners, or very experienced people, that our talents are not limited to our geography. That what you can do is not limited to the map of your country or the map of your state or the map of your city, but that you, depending on how far you would like to go, can really make your talent work for the world. Because right now, the whole world is ready, you know, to see your talent wherever you may be in the whole world. So it does not matter if you are in one village in Osun State, or in one village, in one village, or in Sudan or South Sudan. But what matters is how are you able to refine your talent and make it visible to the globe. Because once the globe sees a talent, they want to benefit from that talent. And we can see all that benefit across the whole world happening now. So we are not limited to our countries, to our continent, to our states, but our talents, can go out there and work for us anywhere we are. And we already have examples of people, even within the African continent, doing great things for countries abroad or companies abroad, but also companies within Africa. Yeah, so, trying to kind of wrap up, there's a lot of benefits, for countries where talents congregate, but we need to make sure that this benefit begins, to trickle down and permeate the countries of origin for those talents. So I listened to someone recently who was saying, how come Africa, and it was using Nigeria as an example, how come Nigeria is at the level at which it is today, when some of the best surgeons in the world are Nigerians, when some of the best venture capitalists in the world are Nigerians, when some of the best finance professionals in the world are Nigerians? And he said it is because talent would always move to where it is valued. And that, when talent begins to move from one location to another location where it is valued, then you're beginning to undermine the existence and the prosperity of the countries of origin for the talent. But brain circulation tells us that we can reverse that and make it work for everybody, as long as we have the right facilities and environment, that over time, talents that migrated can also, return and make their environment better. And I think that's what we are beginning to see in Africa and also in the world. And let's not forget one thing. As we complain in Africa about, talents, leaving, other countries in the world are also complaining, even in Europe. They complain in Europe that talent is leaving for Canada, talent is leaving for the Americas, Australia. The Canada complains that people are leaving, for other countries. So it's really a kind of phenomenon that is going around the world, and that's why it is circulation. Even within the country, I remember in my role at Friesland Campina, we had a debate, when we hosted the HR Directors Network, which was one of my final events at Friesland Campina before I left. And of course, there were some discussions around, people are leaving, they are japping, they are going to Canada, or some are leaving from your company to another company. And so there was a question around, should we stop training people? Should we stop developing people? And I recall then that my boss at that time, the MD at Friesland Campina, was, you know what? We should take our role as developing, leaders and professionals for the whole country, not for our company alone. Because when we do that, it means that when people leave and we get other people, those guys would have been trained too. So as talent is circulating around companies, they leave Diageo and go to Unilever, and leave Unilever and go to Shell, and from Shell they go to public sector or private sector, PwC, wherever. As long as companies are developing people, then the fear of, I don't want to develop people and then lose them, will begin to ebb away, because you begin to see that what is happening is not brain drain in your company, but what is happening is that in the country or in the continent, you're having brain circulation. So people are leaving you, but other people are joining you. People need to do other things and they move on to other places. Of course, that could be a challenge for your talent retention strategy. Okay, so why are you not retaining talent? But that's a topic for another day. That's not what my focus is on for today. I think it's to make brain circulation, a phenomenon that we have to embrace and not be scared of, and be prepared for, and also be able to tap, the benefit that comes with it. So let me just ask you this question, and we can, put on the responses in the chat again. What do you think that Africa needs to do, or Nigeria needs to do, to re-attract, talents that have left the country for some time? What are the things that we need to do as a country, as a government, as individuals, and as companies? What are those things that we need to do so that we can get IT professionals, engineers, medical doctors, surgeons, all over, coming back at some point, just like they've done in China and India? Yeah, somebody said, right leadership and security. Okay. You want to break that down again? Because when you say right leadership, it's loaded. Friendly government policies. Okay. As a country, there has to be security of lives and property. So this issue of security is really like very germane. But let me ask one question. Which country is safer, Nigeria or United States of America? So that we can have a robust debate now. Nowhere is safe. Yeah, I like that response. Yeah, because again, it's about, there are peculiar challenges and issues in all the countries of the world. So whereas in Nigeria, you could say, yeah, I mean, you could be going and there's armed robbery, or you could be going and then there's a tanker falls from Ojuelegba Bridge and kills 10 people. But you could also be sitting in one restaurant in one state in the US and a guy comes in with a gun and kills 12 people. This year alone, and we're talking about a year that has not even reached half. We've not gotten to the 6th month of the year. And there are thousands already killed, through that kind of violence. In some other countries, people are disappearing. So you see a whole lot of advertisements on the street talking about missing people, missing persons. So really, it's not about, that maybe one country is safer than the other. But again, I think some people are already harping on the real topic, which is about transparent and efficient policies, meritocracy. So in a place where you know that if you do your job well, and you have the talent and the skills and the knowledge, you would get a job, you would improve, you would progress, then of course people would also stay and people would want to come back. Somebody says peculiar challenges in one country or the other. In the US, there are consequences for actions. People are prosecuted for doing wrong. Yes, true. So again, what do we need to repatriate talents? It means, if I read that one correctly, then it means that we need to have systems and institutions that work. Yeah. So you need institutions that work, people who will do their job regardless. Yeah. And you need a system where there will be consequences for your actions. So everybody knows that if you do something wrong, you will face your consequences. And maybe then people will begin to come back. Somebody says reevaluation of Nigeria's currency, cost of living adjustment. Hey, when we talk about cost of living, let's face the fact that I live in the UK presently, and I can tell you the cost of living is not smiling. And a lot of people are complaining. The same thing for the US. You would see people, homeless people on the streets also. You see people are managing, So it's a whole lot of things that we need to consider. And for those who are thinking of relocating, in the past, I used to go around campuses and have talks with undergraduates, and when they ask me in those days and they say, what do you suggest? What do you advise? Should we leave this country or should we stay? I used to tell them, stay here. This is where you are #1 citizen. You are not a second-class citizen or third class. Over time, when they asked me that question, I used to say, It's your decision. I couldn't say stay here or go. Right now, I will still respond and say it is your decision. However, make sure that you have the right plans. Make sure that you made the right preparation, because we've seen a lot of people who are also struggling here or struggling in the US or Canada because they did not plan adequately. And we've seen people who have returned also and they left out of frustration because they just couldn't manage. So you need to be sure that you are ready for the move, financially, mentally, emotionally, that you're ready for the move, and that you would have enough support. But that's why I've always told people to say, you know what, stay where you are #1 citizen and only move when you are sure of where you're going to, so that it doesn't become an albatross for you. But, you know, going back to the topic, so somebody said provision of social infrastructure, maintenance of law and order. And many people have written about leadership. Well, I put it on the table here. I'm not saying right or wrong, that we have a problem of leadership as well as a problem of followership. So many of us who are the followers in the country, sometimes we will want to have good leadership, but we don't see too much of a difference between the bad leaders and the followers. Because again, leaders come from the followership anyway. They don't fall from the sky. They come from the followership. And that's one of the other areas that we need to think about when it comes to brain circulation. So it is not enough to be intelligent. It is not enough to have high IQ. It is important to have a good dose of emotional intelligence and a good dose of being a good citizen. Otherwise, when people move, they also run into troubles. Troubles of character and troubles of how they manage when they are under, when things get tough. Their responses can lead them into trouble. So these are very important aspects that we need to put into consideration when you are thinking of moving from one location to the other, from one geography to the other. I think I heard somebody say something. Mr. Moderator?
Okay, thank you so much, sir, for the wonderful session. Indeed, everybody here is busy listening to you, because brain circulation is a topic that is ongoing now, and everybody has been looking for means we are all going to benefit from it. So I'm really very happy that you have been able to share this much. I know everybody have different questions, even myself, I do. But I want to thank you, sir, for the session. And our second speaker is already here. So he's going to kickstart immediately. But after now, we are going to take all the questions that will come up from your own session, because I know definitely there are going to be questions. So we are going to take them. So at this moment, we are going to bring in the second speaker, who is already here, in person of Mr. Victor Acuna. So Mr. Terry is going to bring him in. Thank you, sir. You are welcome. Mr. Victor, thank you. Mr. Terry is going to read out your profile before you kickstart. Happy to have you in the program.
All right, sir. So, yeah. Okay, so we're going to take questions. We're going to take questions for the first speaker after this section, so that we can be able to harmonize things, because we have the syndicate section to go through. So thank you so much, our last speaker, for that very insightful section. All right, so we're going to go into the next section now. Dr. Victor Acuna is already in the room. So I'm bringing his profile right away. Dr. Victor Acuna is a passionate human resource consultant, lecturer, and coach with years of experience in the industry. As a human resource consultant, he has worked with diverse range of companies in both Nigeria and the UK, providing invaluable insight and solutions to complex HR challenges. His years of experience has made him a sought-after expert, known for his ability to develop and implement effective HR strategies that drive business success. As a coach, Dr. Victor has helped numerous individuals and teams unlock their full potentials, guiding them towards greater success and fulfillment in both their personal and professional lives. His passion for coaching stems from his desire to help people reach their goals and achieve their dreams. With his wealth of experience, passion for HR, and dedication to helping others succeed, Dr. Victor is a true asset to any organization or individual any day, anytime, seeking to improve their HR practices and achieving their goals. So with no other further ado, let's put on the chat room as we welcome this excitement. Our next speaker, plenary speaker for the Career Summit, Day 2, 5.0, Dr. Victor Akuna, all the way from, I think, the UK. Thank you, sir.
Thank you so much, sir. Mr. Terry, nice to see you in person. Fantastic. I need to look for rubber band to hold my head together, the way you were reading that stuff. Please, can someone send me a rubber band from there, please, wherever you are?
I'll give you cold water, cold ice block. So before you start, Dr. Victor has been a friend. I've followed him online. He's doing a marvelous.
I follow you too online, sir.
So I'm going to connect with you now. I was waiting for today. So after today, we'll talk some more, sir.
Fantastic, sir. Fantastic. Yeah, great to have you. Thank you. Phenomenal. I'd like to appreciate the last speaker. That was really great. Very practical session, very practical examples. I also want to appreciate the convener of this event in the person of Dr. Morgan Adeyemi and his phenomenal team. Everything has been going really, really smoothly. And thank you all of you that have been participating. I can see that some people giving me a clap already. I need to look for fun to fan myself and cool myself here. Thank you, Chidi Ebere. I can see you smiling. Thank you, guys. So what I'm looking at, I'm going to be talking about briefly today is building your network. Building your network. To be honest with you, I would like to start with a personal story. So many years ago, I started out a company called Hamilton Richards Consulting. It was into, what do you call it now? HR recruitment, training, and designing HR processes for organizations. Before then, I took my personality test, and the personality test says, what do you call it now? What we call steady supporter, what we call phlegmatic and melancholy. But when I was going into business, I remember having a conversation with myself that perception that, oh, I'm the reserved type, oh, I like to be on my own, it's not going to serve my business. I will have to crawl out of my shell to connect, and connect I did. So now this session is quite simple. What I'm going to be sharing, a lot of you already know it. Some of you, it's a reminder. Some of you, it's an encouragement to continue on the path that you're already on. Some of you, I'm here to convince you and not to confuse you that you have to begin to build your network. There's a book that somebody wrote many years ago. It said, build your well before you are thirsty. Begin to build your network. To be honest with you, this is one of the things that transformed my career, transformed my life while I was in Nigeria and while even here in the UK. So to finish my story, the very first client I got when I left paid employment to start out this consulting firm was somebody I met. And the very first job I got paid me, the job paid me what I used to earn in a month. The job paid me 1.5 of that just by building the right network. Then fast forward here, when I moved to the UK, I'm going to be sharing that story anyway, much later on how I got into the academia and how networking is something that really, really works. It's a universal principle. Whether you are in Africa, whether in the UK, in the US, it's a universal principle. Resources, opportunities flow through networks. People work in bands. People work in bands. And so if you can get into the right band, to the right network, it's going to really transform your outcome, to transform your career. So let me move on quickly. So they've read my profile. I'm just going to skip through that. So lesson outcome. What are we looking at? Number one, understanding network. I'm going to run through so that I can hit the same target of the time. Understanding what is networking, beliefs about networking, categories of networking, types of networking. By the way, my PhD was around this subject. Okay, I looked at another word we call networking is called, or networks is called social capital, like where we have financial capital. The resources, the relationship that you have is a capital. And to a large extent, I make both say that it's superior to financial capital. There's an African proverb that says that the person that has people is superior to the person that has money. The person who has relationships, credible relationships, people who know you, people you know, and people who know you, is superior to the person that has money. If you have only money, the person that has solid relationships will be able to achieve something faster than the person that has just money, okay? So both of them are capitals, but one is superior, all right? So you have to begin to think about building your networks. Build your wealth, build your network. If you look at the second title of my presentation is Relationship Bank Account. It's like a bank account. If you want to start a business and you don't have 5 people that know you, trust you, like you, to give you at least 1 million naira, 1 million pounds, you have to begin to consciously build on your invest in relationships, okay? So this slide will be made available in case I'm unable to cover everything I have in mind to cover. All right, so let's go straight on. So what exactly is networks? So the reason why I made it this way, so that those who have their slide can use it, okay? So what exactly is networking? This refers to building and maintaining relationship. The key word there is building. When you use the word building, it means it's something you do consciously, all right? If you are building a property, it's a conscious effort. You have to have a plan. You have to have the blueprint. You have to know the person, the people to bring on board. It's a conscious plan. It's something that you have to do, all right? That's building. The second part is maintaining. Some people build good relationships, but they don't maintain good relationships. So you meet someone today, you collect the card, they know you, but after a while, they've forgotten your name, and then all of a sudden, you just come from the blues and you want to make a withdrawal from that relationship without maintaining it through the process. It doesn't work like that. People are going to be feeling used if you do it like that. That's what we call transactional. You shouldn't make it transactional. You should build it. You should maintain it. How do you maintain it? Communicating with people. Communicating with people. Finding out things that will be of benefit to them and sending it across to them. All right? I am on this platform because of relationships that are built over maybe like almost 15 years ago. All right? So relationships are superior. So relationships are superior to finances. All right? Superior to money. You can make withdrawal, you can get people to do things for you that they will normally have charged for because of the relationships you have with them, because of because of how they feel, their disposition towards you. Okay? Very important. Don't leave this until you need it. If you need it, then it's already too late. All right? One of the worst things ever is for people to brand you as someone who uses people. All right? So there are different platforms to build relationships. You can build through conferences like this. Don't just attend this and go. Attend the discussion sessions, meet people. As people are contributing, you can already know. Send private chats to people. Oh, I like your point of view. Can we chat? This is my social handle. Build connections. All right? They have created a platform for you. Some of you, your next angel investor is on this call. Don't just come in and stay like a ghost presenter, no video, no communication, and it just disappear like that. No, you are losing. You're not taking advantage of the opportunity that has been provided, okay? Zig Ziglar said something many years ago. You can get anything you want only if you can help enough other people to get what they want. All right. So your success is connected to other people. Your success is connected to other people. Your success is connected to other people. Value flows through connections. Value flow through connections. Okay. Let me ask you now, can you post in the comment section, when people hear networking, what do you think they mean? What comes to your mind? When you hear the word networking, what comes to your mind? Someone said USC. Well, I don't know about that. All right. When you hear the words networking, what comes to your mind? Can you quickly post in the comment section? I have a very limited time. Connecting with people. Thank you, Chika. Fantastic. Omotola said opportunities. Fantastic. Usman said linking up with new people. Fantastic. Building friendships with common interests. Fantastic. Nkiru, well done. Chidebere said mutual relationship, friends with benefit. Fantastic. Getting to know people and keeping them. Fantastic. Yeah. Oh my word, this is a very interactive class. Amaka. Fantastic. Good to see you. Networking, people that know you. Fantastic. Good. Sheung, fantastic. All right. So these are good ones. Let's look at some of the negative perspective people have. It's an opportunity to take. Some of you have people that when you see their call, you don't pick their calls. Why? Because you know that they're going to ask you for something. They're going to make withdrawals. All right? That is not good. Okay? If you only take from people, they are going to, the moment their brain label you as taker, they begin to minimize their interaction with you. And without interaction, that means access is denied. Without access, you can't get resources. Okay? It is exhausting and awkward. Many people, particularly introverts like myself, they find it exhausting and awkward. All right? It's meeting new people. Some people think it's expensive. You have to travel, you have to invest time and effort. Yes. It's not expensive. It is an investment. All right? It's like saying, oh, it's expensive to study for your master's. You cannot afford to do it. No, you should think of, you cannot afford not to do it. All right? No guaranteed outcomes. Yes, sometimes there are no guaranteed outcomes because the other person has a say in the whole relationship. Okay? I'm an introvert, it doesn't work for me. No, it's not true. All right? Okay, so there are two major categories of networking called weak and strong ties. So strong ties are those relationships like families, those people that show up for you when there is an emergency. All right? Weak ties are people you know, but you don't have very close connection with. Now, research had been conducted by a man called Granoveta many years ago, and he found out that strong ties are good, but they have some weaknesses. So what do I mean by that? Most times when you want to start a business, the people that are in your strong ties, that are in your family members, most times they will discourage you. Are you sure you want to waste your money? Better stay in paid employment. They will always give you conventional thinking, conventional idea, because they want to keep you safe. Most times, new ideas do not come from them. New opportunities do not come from them. But if you are in trouble, they will stand up, back you, stand up, do everything. The other weak ties, people that you know, may not be family member that you see once in a while. Most times, opportunities flow through those people. Ideas, fresh perspective flow through those people. That is what has been found based on research. So what is the summary of this? What you prioritize? Make sure you keep your strong ties because they have their usefulness, all right? But keep developing weak ties. Go to connection meetings, attend events like this, meet new people, connect, find common interest, because you won't know when you're going to need them. All right? Fantastic. All right. So types of networking. Some of us will say, I don't know how to start. So this is just some example I'm going to run through. Social networks, LinkedIn. Create a LinkedIn profile if you don't have one and be active on it. LinkedIn profile is different from Facebook. I see some people using it as Facebook. No, LinkedIn profile is like It's like your professional branding platform where you brand and communicate to people what you do, what you are good at, how you are transforming your community, whatever area you're focusing on. That's what social profile. Don't come and post your wedding picture there. That's not the purpose. Okay? Create a LinkedIn profile and use it for that purpose. It's about positioning yourself. One of my mentors used to say something. There is a place you stand, opportunities will see you, and you'll be able to see opportunities. There's a place you stand, opportunity will not be able to see you, and you'll not be able to see opportunity. LinkedIn is one of those platforms that pushes you up to be able to be seen by the people that matter. Okay? So use social networks. Use professional networks. If you are a professional like an accountant, HR professional, HR, for example, has CIPM in Nigeria, has CIPD. I'm a member of CIPD here in the UK because I need to be in the right networks. Find the right networks of people who are in your profession. A lot of ideas and opportunity flow. Sometimes they hire your next job just by you communicating with somebody sitting beside you, somebody that you have to book an appointment to. You may just attend an event and you have access to the person just like that. Alumni networks. Sometimes people abuse these alumni. I have like 2 alumni networks. The kind of stuff they post on the WhatsApp group, I'm like, what is happening to these people? This is a fantastic opportunity. You have access to all of us who have left. We're all in different parts of the country. And what you are sharing on the platform is, I can't even begin to more like spoil your morning. Okay, so such platforms are gold mine. If people are not posting the right thing, if you feel led, take control and begin to give it a good direction. All right, someone says that don't let life drag you on, give it direction. Social network. So alumni network, in other words, the schools you've attended, these are people that know you. The WhatsApp group. So when I did my master's, I usually we have this, sometimes they'll put you into groups for you to make what we call presentations. And so right now, I can travel to at least about 4 different countries, and I will have somebody where I'm going to stay if I don't want to get an apartment, just because of the people I met during my master's. So take it really, really seriously. I have people who have been telling me, Victor, when are you coming here? When are you coming there? Why are you coming? Because they know me, we've interacted, we've built that relationship for many years now. Okay, I'm going to just scroll down online, and so a platform like this is covers what they call it now, entrepreneurial networks. Okay. All right. So benefit of networking. There is a saying that people are always thinking, what is in it for me? What do I stand to benefit? Number one is access to opportunities, access to investment, access to knowledge. All right. Knowledge sharing. Sometimes, if you are doing trial and error, it will take you 5 years. But just belonging to the right network, getting the right information can shorten your time so briefly. You'll be very shocked. All right. Career development. This is one key thing for me. So how did I get into academia? Or just somebody who taught me during my master's and saw the potential in me and gave me opportunities. Right now, I've been in academia for 18 years now. All right. I've taught all the way from primary school to high school to first year to master's, MBA to PhD. My PhD student just graduated a couple of weeks ago. Okay. So career development, your personal growth, there are people that will share a new perspective to you that will completely change your life. I'm telling you, completely change your life. Let's let go of this idea of, no, I'm a self-made person. No, everything you need, God has already put into somebody else. All right. What you don't have, somebody else has. You can now connect and you can make exchange. Business growth, industry. During my PhD research, I had a conversation with someone and the person said to me, when I wanted to get into this profession, into this industry, it was security industry. And he said his mentor gave him a client. Mentor gave me a client. In other words, general thinking people have is that, once you are in the same industry, people hoard opportunity, people hoard information. It's not always true. When people have the right interaction with you, sometimes they can give you connection. And this person said his mentor told him, gave him a simple wisdom. He said, focus on this industry. This industry is going to grow, and gave him some recommendations. And today, last year, he told me his turnover was 800 million. All right. This is about belonging to the right network. All right. Very, very important. Okay. Think beyond your company. Think industry. Don't just say, I want to just be the number one in. Think industry. Think global. Think global. All right. Cultivating your resources. If you are building a network, think about any needs. It's about each time you meet new persons, someone new, that's you are earning a new relationship. You are saving that relationship. Invest in that relationship by looking for something that will benefit the person. Once you have done that, and now you want to enter a new industry, you should be able to call 5 people that you have already helped in the past to say, I'm trying to get into this industry. That's when you now withdraw and spend. If you focus on spending, you're going to be in the red. Okay? Increase your network. What do you do to increase your network? The first job I did after I left school, after I left university, I met the person through network. All right. What did I do? I know that the person was way up, was higher echelon in the society. And I knew that most people at that level, people are always coming to them to give, to take. So what did I do? I repackaged myself. I said, you know what, sir? I have this book that I saw that I think would be of use to you. His ears just went up like this. Like, oh, what's the book about? I told him what the book. I said, wow, that's interesting because I'm starting out a new business in this area. It just happened. And then he asked me, do I have the book? I said, no, I don't have it today because I didn't know I would see you. The next week, I took the book. I gave him, guess what? His colleague, his business partner called me and gave me their numbers. The rest, like they say, is history. If you come to people to take, you are going to limit access. Come to people to give. Once you have access, the rest is history. They can even introduce you to their own network if you are credible, especially in an environment where there's a lot, where social capital is so poor, is so low, people don't trust each other. If you differentiate yourself, you will get access, okay? Make this your full-time job. In other words, you have to do it every day. Don't say, oh, today is not for networking. Today is for networking. Tomorrow is for networking. Build relationships and meet new people. All right. I've told you about saving, earning, investing. All right. Attending industry events like this, mentor and advisors, alumni events, write a book. A book has a way of positioning you. All right. More people will have interaction with you. Oh, I read your book, XYZ. You are building network. Don't let yourself feel like, oh, you're superior to them. No, these guys are going to open doors. Sometimes the people you think will open doors to you are not the people up there. They're the people at your level or below you that will make recommendations. Remember the story of Joseph. It wasn't the Potiphar, it wasn't the king that recommended him. It was a prisoner. It was the cupbearer. But these guys have access. They are gatekeepers. Okay. Don't think that anyone in that wear a good suit, I will respect them. These other people, I don't respect them. You'll be very shocked. That is the gatekeeper that will give you access. Okay. All right. So create a podcast. You can create a podcast that people can listen to. That will give you an opportunity to talk to people. Can you come on my podcast? That way you are expanding your network. All right. Organize people around your hobby. If you have hobby about exercise, I can see Iwo here. All right. Organize people and say, can we do this together? You'll be shocked that MDs who come, the moment they know you, they like you, they trust you, it's easy for you to get access. Okay. All right. Yeah. How I got into academia, like I said, somebody gave me an opportunity like that. And then I started interacting. I made a lot of sacrifices. Some of the things I did, I wasn't paid for them, but I got those access. And then a time came, I was interacting with this particular gentleman, was the head of department, now he's way, way, way up. And then I was just having a chat with him. I said, okay, don't worry, when the opportunity comes. I came back again, had a chat with him. And then one day somebody disappointed him and said, just send me an email. Victor, are you available? There is this class that needs to be taught and blah, 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 blah. But I was getting ready. Sometimes people build network, but they don't build their competencies as well. So when the opportunity comes, they fail spectacularly. And it is better not to take an opportunity than for you to take an opportunity that you're not prepared for. It's going to damage your reputation in the industry. But because I was building and growing, the moment I got that opportunity, I kicked the ball out of the park. The reviews were stellar. Guess what? When it was time to do a full-time hiring, this man was on the panel and he said, this guy needs to be in this university. The rest, they say, is history. So one network can be your sponsor that will speak for you, but you must be proven. You must make sure that you deliver beyond their expectation. Do more than you are paid for, and you'll be paid more than you deserve. Thank you so much. If you want to connect with me on LinkedIn, this is how to connect with me on LinkedIn. Let's connect. Let's have conversations. Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Wow, wow, wow. I'm blown off my seat. So today's reviews, I know it's going to be off the hook today, off the charts. Let's jump into the comments. Let's give the reviews in the comment. Man, for me, this is just an amazing, amazing section. Amazing, amazing, amazing. You know, I was just talking to a colleague here, like, hey, this is even the behind is just very inspirational. Thank you, Dr. Victor, for such an inspirational, very inspiring section. It took building network to another level. And then, of course, the stories. Some of us have learned already from the stories that you've shared. And we will be implementing some of those things that you've shared today. Awesome, awesome. I believe our first speaker is here. I want to believe he's still around. So let's jump into the comments. A lot of people were not actually dropping in their questions during the sections. But right now, maybe they were just listening and just ensuring they don't miss anything from the conversation. So let's jump into the comments now. If you have questions, please drop it in the comments. I believe a lot of people should have questions, especially for the last speaker, the first speaker too, all right, about the global circulation, brain circulation. So we should have a lot of questions. So let's jump in right now. If you have questions, please drop it in the comments. Let's take the questions right away.
I see what Chika said. I'm always scared to take the first step. Yes, that is the challenge of most times introverts. Yeah. But I read this book that gave me a different perspective, How to Win Friends and Influence People. And that book told me that you don't have to focus on what to say. Just ask the person the question. Find out their common interest. The person will do all the talking. All you have to do is to nod, acknowledge, and listen. Because when you come into the presence of the wise person, all you are going to say, you already know. But what they are going to say, you don't know. Ask them questions. Sometimes you ask them, what should I be asking you? As a young man that is trying to get into this business, what should I be asking you? They will tell you. I'm telling you. As long as you have your mouth, you can get anything done. All right? Don't be intimidated. How did you convert from being an introvert? No, no trace of, I'm telling you, this, how you know you're an introvert is that you lose energy from interacting with people. An extrovert gains energy from interacting with you. After all this, I need to go and recharge and reflect. All right, so that's how you know you need to recharge. So what I'm trying to say is that don't let your personality is a gift. Don't turn it into a crush that will limit you from getting to the next phase of your life. All right. At the moment, I work with about four universities. How did I meet them? Through my network. Someone called me and said, there's this opportunity, there's this university in Dubai, £5,000. That's it. What I'm trying to tell you is that the goal is not to chase the money. All right. It's strange that when you go to chase what to get from networks, it backfires. But when you go to think about how do I add value to Terry, you can know people's interest. Just go on their wall, check what they are posting. You will know their interest. Find something that will be of benefit to them. Someone who reads a lot, for example, you find a speed reading course, send it to the person. That's already something. But always prioritize the other person's interest. I'm telling you, once you are credible, you are competent, you have to add some charm there. Don't be dull. Someone calls you like, hello, like someone who just woke up in the morning. No, you have to sound upbeat. I used to do training on customer service. If you smile when you pick a call, it reflects in how you come across. So you have to be enthusiastic and upbeat. Don't sound like someone who is tired of life. You're going to drain people, all right? All right, so someone said, please, what book? How to Win Friends and Influence People by Dale Carnegie. And then there's another book on networking, Never Eat Alone by Keith Ferrazzi or something. Yep. How do you network well when transitioning to a new line of work? Now, very good question. What do you do? How did I moved from consulting into full-time, and then now I'm also doing consulting with some small businesses here in the UK. So the best way is to plan it. Once you plan it, to say, it's like, think about it like a goal. You want to play football. Who do you need in this? Who do you already know in that industry? If you don't know anyone, who knows somebody in that industry? And begin to build those kind of connections. Okay, you are thinking of this, go and find out who are the people in that industry. If they are doing podcasts anywhere, go and listen to their podcasts. Begin to pick their brain, how they are doing stuff. And then when you look for them on LinkedIn to say, oh, I listened to this podcast, maybe you want to connect with Terry, for example. I watched you on this, you listen to this podcast. This mention specific thing that they said that really jumped out at you and how you are applying it. Automatically, they are like, okay, I think I want to have a conversation with this person. And then from there, you can actually start.
Okay, Dr. Victor, I think there's a question for Mr. Tommy.
Okay.
All right, so let's add him on the call so like it becomes like, is he a panel now? All right, so because there are two questions, some questions for him. So Dr. Tommy, I don't know, is it Dr. Tommy, I don't know if you are still in. There's a question for you there. Should we call the Nigerian experience presently brain circulation when it is one direction? I will interpret circulation when it is multi-directional. We import talents from other countries and also export talents. In our case, presently, we are only exporting. So I don't know, it looks like is it a question or a comment now, but I don't know if it's still in. Maybe
no, I can speak to that if you can hear me.
Go ahead, we can hear you, sir.
Okay, I can speak to that. So yes, from the average man's perspective, you could say that it's brain drain for Nigeria, not brain circulation. But honestly speaking, when you balance it, it's not true. It's still brain circulation. For the fact that there are Nigerians abroad and there are expatriates in Nigeria from other countries, you can see that it's circulating, yeah? Now, what you want more, I understand the question. What you want more is that you want to see more Nigerians stay in country. That's not going to happen. The reason is we are a developing country, not developed. So you would like to have your talents go out there, get all the benefits of the developed economy, and then bring it back. Now, that is beginning to happen. But of course, we need a lot of things to be put in place for it to happen at scale. So like, for example, the hospital that I attend in Lagos is in VI. The whole of the surgeons and most of the medical doctors there are practicing outside of Nigeria, abroad. But they come into the country once a month, once in 2 months, they stay 2 weeks, they have a rota, and they come in, perform all the surgeries that would have been too expensive, or you would have gone out of Nigeria to go and undergo such surgery. So it is happening, but it needs to happen at scale. Second thing is, so a lot of people are sending their children to universities abroad. The day you have ASU calm down, and for 5, 6, 7 years, there are no strikes, what would happen is, first, people will begin to have trust in the education system. Second, some of the Nigerian educators in foreign universities will start thinking of coming back. And third, even teachers and lecturers who are not Nigerians will start thinking of coming to lecture in Nigeria. So we need to put some things in place. When I was in secondary school, some of our teachers were British, some of them were Indians. Ditto for Nigerians who went out. So it's happening, but it needs to happen at scale. I hope that answers your question.
All right. So let's have Dr. Victor just take 1 or 2 questions there, and because it's about, I think it's leaving shortly. Dr. Victor, I think I can still see you.
Yes.
Let's have you take one or two questions before you jump
okay.
on.
That's all right.
All right. Let's see. Okay, I think you must have answered. Let's see. Okay, I think I have one here. What is it? That one's on Mr. Tony. Okay, I think that's all we can have here. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Really appreciate it.
Would you call Brazil, Indian, and SA developing? Okay, that's for that told me to answer. But Dr. Victor, thank you very much. You said you have another event to catch up. Thank you so much for taking our time to be here. We appreciate you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
So,
thank you, phenomenal people.
Dr. Toby, I think there's another question for you. Would you call Brazil, India, and SA developing, since with Nigeria we are all classified as
that is football, and we don't really have time again. We need to move to syndicate session.
Okay.
Yeah. So Terry, thank you again for the wonderful job you have done this morning, and I want to say congratulations to everyone that has made it to this session. The day two, it's been awesome. We have great speakers in the house, and I want to say a big thank you to everyone. Thank you for being a part of this, 2023 edition. It's awesome and fantastic. And we are not yet done. We have the specialized session now to go with, and that will be the syndicate session. And the platforms are already set. Our speakers for the sessions are ready. They are already in the room. So I will ask the moderator to also post the link in the chat room. And this is how we're going to roll. This general platform will be retained for the HR. I mean, by the time you are registering, you have indicated your choice of syndicate session. So this platform will retain for the HR. For other sessions, you will find the link has been sent to your email. It's on the WhatsApp group, and it's also being shared right now on the chat room. So we can then click and then get into those platforms. And thank you so much for the birthday wish. Today is my birthday, yes. And thank you everyone for your messages. Thank you all the facilitators. You have been so fantastic and awesome. We will close the 2023 edition of the Career Summit from our syndicate session. We will not be
I don't know why
back.
Dr. Ayo is avoiding a birthday something, Nasha.
We will not be we will not be returning back to the
birthday greeting is already in the chat room, so you just be reading it there. You mentioned it, but everybody is just
I saw it in the room. And I didn't want the person to feel like I didn't acknowledge it. But now you have.
There's so much
I don't want
in the
you to
chat room,
blow it.
Already.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, everyone. It's great to celebrate the birthday with every one of you. So we just have 2 minutes to get into our syndicate session. And so please check your WhatsApp platform, check your email, check your the chat room here on this WhatsApp, and then you can move to your platform. The rooms are open already, and the facilitators are already waiting for you. And the moderators are also there waiting for everyone. So please, you can just move to your syndicate session group. Thank you. Don't worry. I appreciate every one of you. I appreciate every of the messages for this session. Thank you so much. Please ensure you engage the speakers at the syndicate session. Ensure you get the best of them. They are willing to share so many. We have the syndicate session for marketing and sales, anchored by Mr. Alex Goman. We have the engineering and mechanical, specialization handled by engineer Kola Lamidi. We have the IT, the tech. We have Mr. Felix Imosu from Microsoft. And then we have the medical services. We have Dr. Afolabi Ajelabi. We have the HR and humanity handled by Mr. Yomi Afayemi from Canada too. Is also there. And we have so much so much jumping in simultaneously. Thank you. So we have the general administration handled by the Mr. Arause Osenwingi. And so please just move into your syndicate sessions now, and we can then take it up from there. Let all the moderators also move to the syndicate sessions right away. We have 45 minutes at the syndicate session, and at the discretion of the speaker and the moderator if it's extended. But please ensure you get all the best, time there with the facilitators. We're going to. I'm going to ask you to go stop recording for now, so that we can move to syndicate session, and then we need to also, move. So we will play the theme song as we move, and then we come back for the other session. Thank you so much.
That I'm unstoppable. I believe I've only just begun. I will conquer, I will fly, reach my peak, I will. And there's nothing that can ever bring me down. I am living proof that nothing is impossible. I beat the odds when hope was nowhere to be found. There was a strength that carried me through every obstacle. It lets me know that it's too late to give up now. I am not afraid to climb another mountain, to risk it all, to face my deepest, darkest fear, to live a dream much bigger than I can imagine, 'cause I want the world to know that I am here. I believe that I'm unstoppable. I believe I've only just begun. I will conquer, I will fly, reach my peak, I will. And there's nothing that can ever bring me down. I believe that dreams are untamable, and I believe that wings were made to
Hello, please, how do we get to the breakout sessions?
Exactly, me too, I'm stuck here. I don't know.
We are even in the WhatsApp group, it's not there. It's not in the WhatsApp.
It is not there, exactly.
So I don't know what.
I opted for HR session, but no message whatsoever, not in the mail, not in WhatsApp group. So me, I'm stuck here. Let them help us out. How is Mr. Ayo? Should please help us out.
Good day, everyone. Please just be patient. Dr. Ayo is handling it. In a short while, you will see it. Thank you.
Please, I'm for HR session. No?
Good afternoon, everyone. The HR session is holding right here. Just be patient. Thank you.
Oh, here. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, please, I would like to know if all the sessions are happening at the same time.
Yes, please, they are, all of them. I've just note, if you're here for another session, please indicate and I'll just send the link in the chat to where you're supposed to go. Thank you.
Okay, it's medical team.
Just hold on for a bit, you get it now.
Please, for sales and marketing, please. The link for sales and marketing, please.
I'm here for general management.
Good afternoon, please. The link for HR Humanity.
Please know that HR is happening here. I just posted the link for medical, so you can go now. Please indicate in the chat room where you want to go so you can get the link. Thank you.
So for the HR session, let us exercise patience. Our facilitator is about to join us. So let's wait for him in the next few minutes. He will be here with us.
Yeah, I'm here already.
Okay, I've been checking for you. Okay, we are happy that you are already here, sir. And time we are already a bit behind schedule, so we are going right into the session. Just like Dr. Ayo has already set the pace, this platform is more of a mentoring session now. But before we go into that, we are going to give our facilitator and speaker for today the opportunity to share more, especially early on the journey of HR, because we know everybody who is here, in one way or the other, they are either already practicing HR or intending to go into the profession. And we know our speaker is someone who is so experienced in this area. And we are going to give him that privilege so that he can take us through the journey. So if you have any question after now, please ensure you already put them together so that when time will come for questioning, we will not be waiting so much. So I would love to just give the avenue now to the speaker so that we come on and do justice to it. We are happy to have you. Welcome to the session. So if you can hear me, you can unmute yourself now.
Okay. Good afternoon, good morning, and good evening. I don't know. I know we're from various parts of the world. I think, can I request for everybody to mute themselves? I can hear some noise in the background.
Shogo help us to mute everybody, please. Help us to mute everybody. Shogo.
So thank you very much. My name is Yomi Fawe, and I've been an HR professional in the recent past, a couple of years, maybe we can even count decades plus. And I've been asked to lead the conversation around HR. I'm hopeful that we'll spend the next 20, 25, 30, 40 minutes well and get a lot of good results from the process. Let me thank everybody who has chosen to join the HR session. I'm pleased and happy that we have so many people here who are interested in HR and human resources as a profession or as a passion or as an area of interest. It's very gratifying. A couple of years back, I'm sure if there was a session like this and you had a dedicated session for HR, you would not have so much of interest. But thankfully, the perception, the opinion of people about HR has changed over the years and is becoming what people choose to do. I mean, like I told somebody before, that when I was in secondary school, in Nigeria, I schooled in Oyo State, Nigeria, there was nobody in my set or in my school that ever said his career aspiration is to be HR. I mean, people wanted to be lawyers and engineers and accountants and doctors and all manner of things, but I didn't. In fact, I remember I told somebody that I didn't even know they studied HR till I left the university, because I attended the University of Technology, so we didn't have the humanities. So I didn't even know there's a department called, whether it's personnel management or human resources or industrial relations. I only know that my university has a department called personnel. I didn't know the people go to university to study it. But you know, it's changed over the years. Now there are tons of schools that now offer it. So my goal is just to talk about the profession generally. I mean, I know because of the fact that there are quite a number of different people here. I mean, so there are people that are just interested in the profession. There are people that are just entering the profession, and they're also veterans. I need to pitch it at the level that meets the need of everyone. So human resources are the people that have been tasked with the responsibility of managing the human resources of an organization. I just decided to describe it from the word. So what we do is that our role is to manage the human resources of the organization. And who are the main human resources of the organization? Every human being that is connected to the organization. So whether they are employees, whether they are members of the board, whether they are contractors, whether they are stakeholders, anybody that is a human being that is part of the organization is in the baby, is the baby of HR. That's what we do. The same way somebody who is in information technology is bothered about the IT infrastructure and software and things like that. We are bothered about the people. And our job is to ensure we bring in the people, we bring in the right people, we develop those people, we maximize them and make them perform well, we motivate them and keep them healthy. And when they're about to leave, we also ensure they leave as nicely as possible. So in a nutshell, that's all we do. We attract the right people. We ensure the right people get into the organization. When they're in the organization, we develop them as HR. We optimize their skills. We enable them to perform very well to get the results we want. And at the right time, when they are leaving, we ensure they leave as peacefully and as nicely as possible. That's what we do in a nutshell. So if you want to talk about the HR value chain, that's all what happens in the whole of the HR value chain. There's a beginning when we're looking for people, then we bring them in, We retain them in the organization through a series of interventions, and then they leave at the point. And everybody leaves an organization at the point, as important as they say. So I think the question we all need to ask ourselves is, so if that's all HR does, what are those junctions or alternatives we need to have? What are the choices we need to make at various points in our career as HR? And I'm going to identify 3 of those choices that I feel every HR person has made, will make, or is making. But I realize that it's a choice you need to make over and over again. 3 things. Number 1, you need to decide whether you want to practice your HR either in the private sector, in the public sector, or in the social sector. You have to make that choice. Where do I want to be this HR professional? Do I want it to be in the private sector? So if it's a private sector, I'm thinking about the Shell, the Chevron, the MTNs, the Oandos, the Oluomo and Sons, the private company, the GT Bank, the MTN. Is that where I want to do my HR? Because there is also HR happening there. You need to decide that. Or do I want to do it in the public sector? So in the public sector, do I want to work in Ministry of Labor, for example? Or do I want to work in the HR of a parastatal? So there's also HR in FAN, there's HR in NAFDAC, there's HR in EFCC, there's HR in Central Bank of Nigeria, there's HR. So you need to ask yourself, do I want to do my HR in the private sector, in the public sector? Or do I want to do my HR in the social sector? Now, those that do their HR in the social sector are those that have to work in organizations like the Regulatory Institute. Like, for example, you want to work for CIPM, or you want to work for NECA, or you want to work for Nigerian Labour Congress, or you want to work for all the trade unions you have in Nigeria. So you can decide, you will have to decide, and you have to keep deciding where you want to work. For example, I have always done my HR in the private sector, working essentially in the extraditive industry, which I enjoyed very well doing. I mean, I love HR in the private sector, but there was a time in my career I realized that I needed to have some government experience. And then I went to work for the government. I did HR for the government for some time because I wanted to have that experience. I have done HR in the social space on a volunteer basis. I mean, so doing something like this is part of my own social contribution to the. So you need to take that decision at every point in time where you want to work out of those things. That's a first decision you need to take. And I think also that we should not be rigid about it. At various times in our career, we can decide that we want to move in or move out. I remember one of the former speakers, Mr. Tommy, was doing HR with the government. He was working with the stock exchange or quasi government, and then he went to freelance at Tampica. So you can also move around. The second decision you need to take as an HR person is that, do I want to be an HR generalist or I want to be a specialist? Now, you remember when I described that HR value chain, I said we attract people, we develop them, and then we offload them some point. Now, at every point in that value chain, there are generalists that manage the whole of HR. There are generalists that manage the whole of HR. But at the same time, too, there are also specialists at every point. So, for example, when we want to bring in people, there are some people who are called recruitment specialists. Their job is to recruit. That's their specialization. When we want to develop those people, there are people in learning and development. That is their own specialization. There are people that are talent managers. There are people that do all those things. So you need to ask yourself, do I want to be an HR generalist or do I want to be an HR specialist? HR generalists are technically the people they call the HR business partners. Their jobs is typically to be a link between HR and the rest of the organization. And generally, they are vast in various areas of HR. So they understand performance management. They understand this. They know a bit of everything. They are like general workers, and they are the ones that typically go on to become the HR business partners, typically go on to become the HR managers, most likely will likely become one of the HR directors sometimes down the line. So those are the HR generalists. But you also have the people who call the HR specialists. Those are the people that will specialize in attraction, selection, recruitment, talent management, performance management. They are dedicated, specialized group of HR folks who focus on specific areas. You have to take a decision which of the two you want to be at any point in time in your career. Number 3, and that's the third choice you want to make, and the final one I'll be describing. The other choices you need to make anyway, but this is the third one that I want to say. You need to ask yourself, do I want to do HR, core HR, or I want to do associated human resources roles that is not core HR? So I'm going to describe that for you. Now, by core HR, I mean what we all traditionally call HR. You know, the recruitment, the attraction, the development, all of those things. So that's what I call core HR. You can decide to say that's what I'll be doing. I'll be doing HR either as a specialist or I'll be doing it as a generalist. But there are also now associated fields that also manage human resources, but they are not always part of HR. So I'm going to give you some examples. There are a group of people who now call themselves diversity and inclusion. In many organizations, they are not part of the HR. They are typically people from outside HR or people who are in HR that will go and become diversity and inclusion specialists. For example, that's a choice. If you want to manage people but not HR. We have the group of people who now call themselves organizational development people, OD. They were part of HR, but they have tried to clearly say, no, we're not HR. We are OD intervention people. We're like consultants in the organization. HR stays with the employees. No, we're not like that. We just come, we do the thing, and we'll move out. Now, so we have OD also that has become an associated people-focused function that is not typically HR. So you need to ask yourself, do I want to remain in HR? Or do I want to go to those specialists, or whether it's diversity and inclusion and whether it's organizational development? Both, if anyone you go to has its pros and cons, and you know, like any choice, it has advantages and disadvantages, right? Now, when you, for example, say you want to stay in core HR, I mean, there are opportunities there. Many organizations have it. When you now want to go to those associated functions, most organizations don't have it. So it's not every organization that have a diversity and inclusion manager, for example. It's not every organization that, for example, has an inclusion specialist. It's not every organization that have, for example, a wellness coordinator. It's not every organization that will have an OD specialist, for example. But what helps those various things I've mentioned is sometimes they come in waves. So you remember when we had that horrible incident about the killing of George Floyd, right? When George Floyd was killed in America, and there was a lot of protests all over the world. What suddenly happened is that many organizations started to hire diversity and inclusion specialists. So there was a massive uptake of those roles. Actually, in that particular year, 2020, it was one of the fastest growing professions if you check LinkedIn data, but that has dropped now. So you need to ask yourself which of the three. So I just wanted us to lay that foundation that you need to make a choice of these three at any particular point in time. Now, I'm then going to go to my next session where we'll just be sharing general ideas, and which I call tips. They're just suggestions. They are not laws. They are just principles that I've seen as work. And I'll try to provide the reason why I think is important. And I just call them tips, 7 tips, and then I'll be done for now. And then we'll have a dialogue. The first thing I want to suggest is that everybody should aspire to start as a generalist. Everybody should aspire to start as a generalist. What I've come to realize for many people is that sometimes, you know, they want to come to HR and there is no opportunity in the generalist role. Then they tell them, go and do recruitment, or go and do benefit management, or go and do whatever. And then they stay there for that long and they can't move. You see, the generalist HR can move to the specialist at any point in his career, because he will have a little bit of the basic idea about it. But sometimes it's a problem for the specialist to become a generalist. So my recommendation is that for anybody who is just starting, so this counsel may be more advisable for somebody who is just starting, start as a generalist. Start in a general HR function, and then with time, you can move to the specialist role. Now, if you don't have an organization that distinguishes between the generalist and the specialist, try and start your HR in a smaller organization, because the structure of HR in most small organizations are of the generalist nature. So, for example, some organizations just have one person doing all of HR. That's a generalist. So it's always advised, and you know, many times people will call me, I want to go to HR, I'm trying to look for a job in Chevron or a movie, and I'm like, I would not want to advise to start from there, because most likely, because those ones have a huge structures, they will likely want you to start as a specialist. right? So why don't you go to where you get your hands dirty into everything at the end of the day, and then you can start. So my recommendation number one is that start as a generalist and then possibly consider moving to a specialist. That's my recommendation number one. Number two, my second recommendation is that pursue certification and education. Pursue certifications and education. And in generally certifications, if you are based in Nigeria or anywhere, are two categories. There are local certifications, local to mean endemic to that country. There are also foreign certification. So for example, if you're in Nigeria and you are in HR generalist, then you want to do the CIPM, Chartered Institute of Personnel Management of Nigeria. If you are in training, for example, you may want to become a member of NITA, Nigerian Institute of Training and Development. I'm a member of both, that's why I'm mentioning that. So you can get local certification, but there are also foreign certifications. You can get the SHRM, you can get CPHR, you can get the CIPD. But what I want to recommend to everyone is that have a goal to have at least one local certification and one international certification. Have it as a goal. It could be expensive, but it is worth it. And I'm going to give you the reason why. The local certification sometimes helps you to have the bragging rights in the organization in Nigeria. So for example, as an HR person, if you are not a member of CIPM, you may not be able to brag in some cycles because you don't have the local recognition. At the same time, when you have the foreign certification, it not only enables you to brag, it also makes you become potentially international. And I am SHRM certified. I have certification from SHRM. SHRM is 250,000 member HR. I think the largest HR professional institute in the world, is US based. I wrote the exam in 2011 or 2012. So I've been like 12, 13, 14 years or as a member of SHRM certified. I have 3 certifications from them. I have 1 certification from HRCI. Wrote all the exams and passed that. Now, let me tell you personally, this is my own personal experience. I think the most rewarding certification I've gotten as a professional is the SHRM certification. Why am I saying so? It's because of the fact that that certification has opened doors to me. I mean, based on that certification alone, I was invited to join the global experts group for HR, which has few people on it just because of that certification. I needed to do something with one province in Canada at a point, and they expected me to register with their professional institute, and I needed to write exam and things like that. And I told them, no, I'm SHRM certified, and they gave me their registration automatically. So some people will share a similar experience with CIPD, but my experience has been SHRM has been most wonderful because not only do they have a rich support to their members, they also have a lot of cross-national recognition. So pursue it deliberately. Number 3, expand your capacity. Expand your capacity. So if you started in recruitment, if you started in talent management, if you started, try to go into other areas, try to do more things, try to be more involved. Don't just sit down and say, oh, I want to just be doing private sector. Part of expanding your capacity, maybe I want to go to the public sector. I mentioned my experience at the point I decided I was going to go to the public sector because I wanted to have public sector experience. Number 4, build relationship. The last speaker in the general session, Dr. Akuna, spoke a lot about that. On the need for us to build relationship, and he has said, and I just want to repeat that the flow of resources goes along the lines of network. Now, by building relationship, I mean building a relationship in your workplace, right? With the HR people, with everybody in your workplace, but also build relationship in the profession. So, you know, there are some Nigerian HR people, for example, that say, no, I don't have time for CIPM. You're not helping yourself because there are certain resources that will not flow to you just because you are not in those, you don't have a relationship with those. Sometimes opportunity comes for CIPM and they have to recommend people based on what they know. They won't recommend their members. It's just natural, right? So we need to build relationships, join professional associations. So if you are in CIPM, for example, join, Tayo just say spell out the certification. S for sleep, H for happy, R for radio, M for Mike. Society of Human Resources Management is based in Virginia in the USA. It is the largest HR certification institute in the world, SHRM. Thank you. So, so that is the build relationship in the profession. Become a member of a professional group. If they have national, be a member nationally. If they have state chapters, if they have local chapters, be a member. If you studied HR, keep the network of your wholesale association very active. If you belong to a church, form an association of HR in your church. I mean, I did it in my church many years back in Nigeria. I mean, we still have a WhatsApp group that we use, though not as effective as I thought it could be. But hey, I can say I know a good number of virtually everybody that is in HR in my church at that point in time. So always look for, because at the end of the day, you'll be surprised how people will come and ask you questions or recommend you, or they say, oh, we want to do this training in our organization. We're looking for an organization that can help us to train people on sales. And if that's what you offer, why not? So build relations. That's number 4. Number 5, deliver outstanding results. At the end of the day, as a professional, our role is to develop outstanding results. We need to be outstanding. We need to do the right things. We need to deliver the goods, right? We're like strikers in a football game. Our goal is to score goals. We should score those goals and score them very well, right? So we need to be outstanding performance. Number 6, and in today's world, leverage technology and build your social media presence. Leverage technology and build your social media presence. So before now, I might not have said leverage technology and build social media influence, but you know, technology is getting expanded. Everybody saw what happened with the coming up of AI, artificial intelligence, machine learning, data analysis. I mean, today in HR now, if you don't play with ChatGPT occasionally, you may be out of tune. Right? We are going to be competing against people who knows how to use ChatGPT. We are going to be contesting against people who understand HR analytics, right? We are going to be contesting about people who know how to do big data management or machine learning, for example. So you need to become familiar with those technologies. HR is not IT, so we're not supposed to be specialists in it, but you should have basic working knowledge of what is even happening there and use it as necessary. I use ChatGPT when I need to do that. I used to actually teach a course on HR analytics for HR professionals at some point in my career. So, and then the other technology that are coming up, we need to also, related to that, build a viable social media presence. So you need to have a LinkedIn profile. You need to have a Twitter presence. You need to have a presence on Facebook. You need to determine how you want to use these things to advance your cause as HR. I mean, you can actually decide to have a YouTube channel because you want to, for example, use YouTube to show how you are doing well or what you are doing, for example. I mean, have a social media presence. In Nigeria, I just attempted to break the world record. Hilda, and a good number of what she did, why she did a massive job cooking and standing on her feet for that long. But the social media was what propelled it. Many Nigerians didn't know what she was doing when she was planning it. But immediately she started it and put it on social media, everybody knew about it. So if you are this fantastic teacher that can train people, that can do this, that can do that, we won't know you except you put it on social media. So that's about that, build a social media presence. And last one, number 7, is that I want to recommend that we should see HR as a calling. One of my own biggest beef with many of us as HR is that we see it as a job, not as a calling, and then therefore we do it without that sense of it being a calling. I mean, for example, sometimes HR gets into those arguments between management and employee, or some people believe that their duty is to wound employees so that they can save money for the company, or they have to be hard. Some people will say HR people, they're not supposed to be friendly. If you are not tough, you can't do HR. Hey, being tough and being friendly, they're 2 different conversations. You can be firm in terms of your principles, but you can also build great relationships, right? I mean, don't let's go into those distinctions that doesn't help us. You remember the vice president-elect was saying that people that want to be nice should be selling ice cream. Those things are the things that make us to create narcissists in HR. HR people who don't have the heart for people. The name of the job is human resources management. So it's a human-centric role. So you must have that sense of sense of calling to help humanity using the tools of the organization. So you have to be aware of the impact you have. That person you refuse to promote can have a mental health challenge just because you delayed the promotion. I mean, I remember there was somebody whose promotion was delayed for a long time. And I just said, no, this is not right. I heard about it. I intervened and this person got promoted. The person brought his wife to come and thank me. I mean, I was shocked. It never happened to me before. I mean, so know the impact of what you have as a child. What you carry is powerful and you can make a difference in the life of people. I remember there was one time somebody came and was stranded and didn't know what to do next. And I had an IT industrial training opportunity, and the person got hired to come and do IT with me for 1 year. And the person's brother called me on WhatsApp. Thank you very much for helping our sister. And I was wondering, I've never had a situation where somebody's brother called me for what I did in HR. I'm just doing my job. And then the brother now said that their parents want to see me. And I was like, for giving somebody an IT space, what has that got to me? I said, no, there's no need, I'm fine. The man said that I should please, that the parents asked him to appeal to me, that I should see them. I was wondering, how did you do a child that is becoming seeing parent? Okay, I agreed to see the parents. Elderly men, one elderly man and his wife. They said they came to thank me for allowing their daughter to do industrial training. The daughter was just starting industrial training with me. You know, how can you just take a decision and it impacts a home that the parents come to thank you? I mean, that person you gave a promotion, that pregnant woman who asked to start her maternity leave earlier than planned because she wasn't feeling comfortable. You don't know how that approval can impact her life. So we must see our impact and our potential impact. We must also choose to be different. I mean, don't just be that general HR person. Be a different one. Look for a niche and build around it. Oh, I'm the happy HR person. I'm the friendly HR person. I'm the knowledgeable HR person. I'm the intelligent HR person. I'm the interrogating HR person. Choose to be different. Don't just be like run of the mill. And finally, make a positive impact. When people remember you that, our former HR manager, that man, if he was around, nobody would suffer this. And if he was around, our salary would not be delayed. If he was around, this will not happen to you. Be that HR that has decided to make a positive impact. And that decision is personal and deliberate. Create lasting memories for people such that at any particular point in time, when they think about you, they can always remember what you have done. So I'm going to stop on that note so that I can respect time. And I'm going to request the host to advise us what to do so we can have a question and answer session going forward. So I've tried to explain those 3 choices we need to make as HR. That's the first thing I tried to do. I've also tried to give 7 basic advice or tips I think I have for everyone who is either in HR or about to start in HR. And I hope you found the tips useful. But let's have a dialogue, and then I'll turn it over to the host to tell us how to do that, whether it's by people typing or people can ask questions. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you so much, Mr. Yomi. It has been a very wonderful session. And I believe just like I've already jotted a lot here, I believe every other person have done same. Thank you so much. Please let us appreciate him on the comment box, because I believe for sure we have learned a lot of things. Like we did say when we were beginning, that we know we have a mixed number of people here, those who are intending to go into the profession and those who are already there. And I love the way he has been able to handle the session in such a way that even if you are a newbie or even if you are in the profession and maybe wish to navigate your way into maybe from a generalist to a specialist, he has provided us a lot of ways we can be able to do that. And I think those first 3 things that he said we need to be able to determine about our career are so key, that first we need to decide where we want to practice. Is it in the public sector? Is it in the private or in the social space? And also whether you want to become a specialist or a generalist. And then the last thing he said we need to decide on was whether you want to do core HR or you want to handle associated roles. And he even went further to mention a lot of things that we need to do in terms of the general advice for everybody, which I know we have taken note of, especially the aspect where he said you need to expand your capacity to build relationships. And he went further to tell us that we need to make ourselves different. Let us not just be like every other person. We should be those professionals that if we are not around, they can say, oh, it is because this person is not around. So thank you so much. At this moment, we are going to start with the question session. And we are going to give room for anybody who have a question to just raise up his or her hand. Then I am going to maybe give you the mic to speak. So just indicate by raising up your hand, then you'll be called to speak, because we realize that some people find it difficult articulating their question and through writing. So we are going to give that opportunity for you to speak out your question so that the speaker can attend to them. So if you have a question, you can indicate by raising up your hand, please. I want to see those who have questions. If you have a question, please raise up your hand. You can also type it if you want to, and as well, if you want to say it out, you can. Okay, we have Shehu Sunshine, who has already raised her hand. So you can talk now and ask your question, Shehu. Shehu, kindly unmute yourself and speak. Sunshine, we can't hear you, but it appears you are talking, but we can't hear you.
Okay, can you hear me now?
Okay, yes, we can hear you now.
Okay, good afternoon. Thank you so much, Professor, for this amazing section. Concerning the calling, I actually have this issue with our HR manager here in my organization. She resumed January this year, and then she was like, Sheung, you are laughing with people. The way you laugh, you're not supposed to be laughing with people. You don't need to smile. And I'm like, am I not doing my job? She said, you're doing your job, but no. It's not supposed to be like that. When people see you, they should know that you are HR. And for her, January till now, they even had to give her a name that once she's coming to say, yeah, Rainbow is here. So everybody, you don't need to talk. And I'm like, do you need to see HR and be scared? Or people will say, HR is around. You can't say anything again. Thank you, sir.
Wow, thank you so much for that question. I believe Prof is listening. So, sir, you can attend to it while we are waiting for that question.
Okay, thanks for that question. It's pretty interesting. I don't know why the person has chosen to do that, but we don't understand. We may not understand everybody's history and where they are coming from. There must be something behind that. It's either pain or pleasure. So I don't know. But you don't need to wear a long face because you work in HR. You don't need to be unfriendly. The job is human resources. You are dealing with humans, and humans are emotional beings. Because humans are emotional beings, science has found that there is what is called mirror neurons. What mirror neurons does in your brain is that you reflect what you see. So, for example, if you are walking on the street and somebody is facing you and you start smiling at the person, there's a likelihood that person will smile back. It's not that the person is fake. It's just because there is that neurological response based on his mirror neuron. The person will mirror what you are doing. That's why, for example, if you saw your friend or your mother or your wife or your spouse or somebody you love crying, that's why you also start crying, right? Because you will mirror that. So if we want people to come to work happy, if we want people to come to work motivated, if we want people to come to work excited, and we HR, we are not reflecting it, we're reflecting being drawn, being angry, being sad, then that's what we will get, because mirror neurons will happen there, right? It's just like respect. If you respect me, I'll likely respect you back. So I don't agree with her philosophy. While I understand there may be a basis for what she's saying based on her experience, but life is not that way. At the end of the day, she can still get the results while enjoying her life. The last point I want to add to that is that she may actually be hurting herself, because when you don't create joy and excitement and you don't have a relationship, you are in big trouble. It's going to affect your own mental health. 2 weeks ago, the Surgeon General of the United States did a release in the US and said the biggest problem they face, the biggest health problem they face is a problem of loneliness. It's not HIV, it's not COVID, it's loneliness. People who don't have a rich, rewarding relationship. I was writing recently, and those of you that follow me on LinkedIn can check the article out, the result of one of the longest study on happiness. And they found that the happiest people are the people who have rich relationships. So we got to be people of relationship and do our best to relate well with people. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much, sir, for that response. Thank you so much. Indeed, a lot of people, they come to the workplace even with their own personal issues, and in the long run, it affects the entire performance of the organization. And HR should not be seen like these people who are like, everybody needs to be afraid of them. Definitely, that is not how it's supposed to be. So thank you so much, sir, for that response. While I'm also waiting for other questions, either through raising up your hand or typing it in the comment box, I have a question on my own, which I will also ask while we are waiting for others. So the issue of ethics. Okay, I think Queen has a question. Let us listen to her question first before we can come into mine. So Queen, you can unmute and ask your question.
Thank you very much. Good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon. Thank you, sir, for the presentation. While you were speaking, you talked about the different areas of specialization in HR. So I am a wellness and a lifestyle coach. And, for many times I understand the importance of, employee well-being, productivity and stuff. So my question now is, at what point, because I think for me, one of the challenges I've had is trying to make HR, see what we can offer as a wellness company and get them to buy in. So my question now is, how do I know the right HR person to meet, and what could you suggest as a possible strategy, especially for the fact that, many HR, for the few feedback I've gotten or the few experiences I've had, anything that will make them spend money, many times they're not open to it. So what would you suggest is the best way to show them the value that we have to offer and make them see that, engaging in employee wellness beyond just, HMOs, is a great way to get the bottom line of the company and, increase productivity and peak performance.
Okay, thanks, Madam Iwo. Thanks, nice to see you again. I'm not sure I've seen you in like 15 years. So it's nice.
Thank you, sir.
It's nice to hear from you. I think it's a question of like, like the good book says, that there are ways to get things done. One of the things I think is a challenge with the wellness industry in Nigeria, for example, is the fact that people appreciate health. They don't yet appreciate wellness. So you have a lot of resistance that is more cultural and mental. So for members of the public, including the HR people, they understand health. So they understand why people should be healthy, but they don't really know which one be wellness again. That's the question in the mind of people. At the same time, you also have resistance from professionals. So you hear a doctor argue, for example, that, we are doctors who focus on the health of people. Those wellness people, they're just doing whatever it is. So you are dealing with those mental resistance, cultural resistance, and the easiest way to do it is by education and showing proof. So I think one of the things you want to do, because if you want to be knocking from HR company to HR department to HR department, it could be very, very laborious. So why don't you think about creating a platform to do like a seminar for HR people on wellness and the workplace? or decide to go to one of the conferences of HR. I mean, so there's a CIPM conference that happens every year. Lagos State, Ogun State, all the states do their conferences and say, hey, can you let me speak? Even though you may even you may even tell them that you're willing to pay to speak, right? Or get a booth and exhibit what happens there. So with that education, people will realize what it is. The second thing I think will may also be helpful is that you may also want to consider showing proofs and evidences. You know, I watched one documentary many years ago, and because I'm also very interested in the subject of happiness. And this man has a dairy farm. And he realized that his cows, the production of milk was not doing so well. And somebody advised him that happy cows produce more milk. And he was wondering, so what do I do to make my cows happy? I can't get them a comedian, right? So he said he read somewhere that when cows listen to music, they produce more milk. I'm not telling you what I made up. I actually read it. And then the man decided to put speakers where he kept his cows in the US. So there are speakers everywhere playing soft classical music. And then he realized that the milk production of his cows increased. So the man said that based on his experience, to make a cow happy, play the cow cool classical music. And when you do that, they produce more milk. That is evidence. So that kind of a man now, if you want to start another farm, you don't need to write long story to justify why you should spend additional money on music and speakers, because there is evidence. So maybe it's also good for you to start to look for evidence of how wellness makes a lot of difference. So for example, people know they should do HMO. They don't argue because the law says they should do that, right? So maybe if you can start to show how wellness reduces the health cost. Because one of the very interesting things is that, you know, as you're going from HR to HR department, actually, perhaps one of the things you should also focus on is the HMO organization, because their costs will reduce if people practice more wellness, right? So you have somebody who comes in to see the hospital doctor every month, complaining of migraine or complaining of headache, complaining of whatever. And every time the HMO is doing 5,000, 10,000, 15,000 for every month visit. If you go, for example, and show that HMO that the problem with this guy is that he's not doing the basic wellness practice. If he invests in his wellness, the person will change. Maybe the last point is to create incentive. So I signed up, I think it was in the US, I signed up for an HMO, and they asked me that if they'll give me a pedometer. A pedometer is something that measures my step. They give me a pedometer and I upload the number of steps I take, and I take a minimum number of steps per month. They're going to reduce my premium. Okay, I collected pedometer, one. Now, I've seen the way they have used a wellness gadget to create an incentive for me to want to use it. So maybe you don't only think about the HR, maybe you also think about the HMO guys. I mean, you know, and talk with them. So in a nutshell, let me summarize: education for the HR and people generally to understand the place of wellness in the workplace, showing evidence of the impact, you know, like what they will call in business development, compelling business case, where it makes sense. Number two, and then number three, focusing on the HMOs to drive the conversation and let them realize that, you know, for some people, they see wellness as additional cost, but actually wellness is what reduces your cost to ensure your health cost does not go up. So that connection, you need to let people be able to say it. Interestingly, you know, in the oil industry, the wellness role and profession is well recognized. So maybe you start to relate with those ones and use those ones as proof points. Dorothy says you should also offer some freebies. HR people love freebies. Yes, so we like freebies. So if you say, okay, if you say dance is good, makes you productive, for example, do a dance session for HR managers, for example, right? Let's have those sessions for people to see it and see how it makes a difference. I hope this may be helpful for you, and I hope I helped in one way or the other. I wish you all the best, and I hope my HR people will listen to what you have to say. But I think you should explore that conference part.
Thank you so much, sir. It was super helpful. And I do have freebies for every HR here. First 5 people to get it would actually have free sessions for the organizations. So I do have freebies, actually. I do have freebies. Thank you, sir. You just answered like a mind-boggling question for decades now. Thank you. And nice to meet all the HR people. Yes, I'm your friend.
All right, thank you so much, sir, for the response. And from the excitement she's already expressing, you can know that her question has been well answered. So for the HR people here, if you need any wellness coach at any time, you can always reach out to her. She has always been with us in the Career Summit here. Yesterday, she did an amazing work. For those of you who were here, you have seen not just this session, she has been doing the same thing. So you can always contact her, even to do it for your organization. So once again, thank you so much, Mr. Yomi, for the time. And while I'm still trying to check the comment box for more questions, let me ask mine while others maybe they can still come up with theirs. My own is in the aspect of ethics, because as HR persons, actually we are the custodian of ethics in the organization. But a lot of people struggle with the fact that sometimes you are trying to maybe explain what's supposed to be to the maybe to the CEO, but he is telling you a different thing because he wants to protect the business. To him, he feels maybe if we are trying to go the ethical way, we are likely going to lose maybe funds or revenue. So in that case, what do you advise the HR professionals to do when the business functionality is actually going against ethics of the profession?
Great question. It's typically the challenge for many people when leaders do not see the relationship between ethics and their business. But again, you know, most problems in the world can be solved with proper education. So again, one of the things I want to say is that start by educating people. Many people feel that ethics slows down their business. Show them that ethics enables their business. I actually remember many years ago, I was doing learning and development for a major organization back in Nigeria. And the idea was just to show that, hey, we need to do more training for people on ethics. And some people were not listening and all of that. And then there was this court decision in the US. There was a fraud case. Before that time, any employee, any case where an employee had committed fraud, typically the fine goes to the organization. So they will jail the employee, but then they fine the organization, and it runs into millions. So there was this case, it involved Alibotin. Alibotin, there was an employee that committed fraud, and Alibotin went to court to tell the court that, yes, we agree fraud was committed, but we trained this person 5 times. He attended 5 trainings. So we are not liable for him doing it because we have trained him. He's the one that chose not to obey what you trained him. And for the first time in the history of the world, an employee was jailed and punished for corruption, and the company was let go. And the only evidence the company provided was that they have trained people 5 times. That was what I presented and said, guys, this is the value of training people. And after that time, the argument ended because I was able to show the impact. So one of the things as HR people we need to develop is that capacity of what they call in business development, compelling business case. A compelling business case is an argument why something should be done, why it makes sense. So it is not just a business case, it is a compelling. So we must use data, we must use insight, we must use experience to show why that happens. I always tell people, when people tell me, oh, we will not do this, I will say, okay, no problem. I'll go and look for court judgments. I'll go and look for people that have been jailed. You know, people are motivated by either pain or pleasure. I will look for data that show the pain of not doing it. I will also look for the data that shows the pleasure of doing it and present it to them. More often than not, if they don't even agree, they will understand what I'm saying. And finally, sometimes when we want to make some change in HR, we should just realize that change management is a skill, and therefore we need to use all those tools. But sometimes timing is important because some people will just say no, but after some time they'll say yes. So like I said, use education, focus on change management principles, and then give it time. Patience sometimes allows people to change at the end of the day. So that would be my recommendation for that.
Okay, thank you so much, sir, for that response. Indeed, it has been so helpful. I don't know if we still have other people that have questions. I think we still have time for at least 2 questions before we can end the session. In case you do, you can either type it on the comment box or just raise up your hand, then I will call you. Okay, it seems at the moment we have already exhausted all our questions, because from yesterday we have been dealing with a lot of things. Oh, that's great. We have Tola. Yeah, Tola also have a question. So Tola, just unmute yourself and speak, please.
Good afternoon, Prof. Okay, good afternoon, yeah. So my question is this, I'm as HR practitioner, if you are to write a book, what aspect of HR chain can you suggest to someone to write on as someone that has maybe 10 years experience or 12 years experience in HR? Did you get that? Did you get that?
Yes, I got it. Great question. I think it depends. I think it depends on a number of factors. I don't know what has been your experience in HR, but you can write on anything you like. I'm writing a book on diversity and inclusion in Canada and the US at the moment. When there was at various times, you can write on various topics. One thing you may want to do is that, and I think it's something that could be very helpful, is that a book about HR generally, that HR value chain. You can write about it. You can write about legal issues in HR. So the critical decisions that have been taken in HR by the National Industrial Code. You can write about women in HR. You can write about the specialized groups in HR, labor relations for HR in Nigerians. You can write about training and development. You can write about benefit administration. So you can write about any subject. Just pick one area and focus on it. That would be my recommendation. If you reach me on LinkedIn, Yomi Fawemi is my name on LinkedIn. We can bounce some ideas. Don't also forget that I just I talked about using technology. If you go to ChatGPT, you can actually ask ChatGPT, act like an HR professional and give me the title of a book that people will want to read. ChatGPT will give you like 10 options. That may help.
Okay, thank you, sir. You are the second person to say this. Thank you very much, sir. I'll surely do that.
Okay, all right.
So, thank you so much, sir, for the response. You already have another question on the chat box, which is, what do you consider the biggest challenge of employees? Okay, the biggest challenge faced by employees in the workplace across the globe.
Okay, for me, I think the biggest change, for the biggest challenge of employees will be getting reward for the work they did. Most employees believe that they are not well paid. No matter how well you pay them, people believe that they are not well paid. So I think that's the biggest challenge, getting reward and recognition for what they do. That's what I consider the biggest challenge for employees.
Okay, thank you, sir. Another one says, what is your advice to someone that wants to join CPHR, and how can one go about it?
Okay, great question. Let me first say this. The CPHR is a professional institute in Canada. CPHR is not the professional association for every province in Canada. So the first thing I want to ask is that which province are you interested in? Because joining CPHR Saskatchewan is not the same thing as joining CPHR Alberta. It's not the same thing as joining CPHR Manitoba. So you need to ask yourself, if I intend to relocate to Canada, where do I want to relocate to in Canada? And then what is the relevant professional institute there? and then you can use that to determine where you want to go to. But they are very rich and extensive websites. You can get all this information there, but you first determine, where am I going to in Canada, or what's my interest? So if you want to go and live or work in Ontario, for example, they don't accept CPHR in Ontario at all. Now, so the general rule is that all the provinces to the west of Canada, Alberta, BC, Saskatchewan, Manitoba, all use CPHR, but the CPHR is not national, it's based on the province. So you have that. Now, for the ones in the eastern part of Canada, which is Ontario, they use HRPA. So you need to know that difference and pursue the one that meets your need at the end of the day.
Okay, I believe you have answered that, because she later came back to write the province, which you have already mentioned in what you were saying, which is Manitoba. Then we also have another question, which is for international certification. What is the difference between SCP and PHRI or SPHRI?
So one is, I mean, both of them are HR professional institutes, professional certification. One is given by SHRM, one is given by HRCI. In terms of the one that is more popular, the SHRM ones, the SCP is more popular than the PHRI or SPHRI. So my recommendation is that if you need to make a choice between both, you may take the more popular one. I told you, remember I mentioned to you that I have certification both from both HRCI and from SHRM. So if you want to follow my path, I think you should pursue both. But if you have money just for one, this SHRM is more popular, may make more sense. I saw that Gary Eze has clarified. So CPHR Manitoba, just go on their website and check. One of the things you need to check is that you can check to see whether they have reciprocal recognition for whatever certification you have now. They also will want to know your education, what you have done before. So if you go on their website, you can do that. My own general thought is that if your goal is to relocate to Canada, why don't you first get to Canada before you start to write those exams? The reason why I'm suggesting so is that, I mean, I don't know how soon you want to come to Canada. Do you want to start spending dollars paying annual registration fees when you don't currently earn dollars? My fee to renew my membership of all the professional institutes I belong to in Canada is over $1,000 that I pay every year. So do you want to pay that if you don't earn dollars at the moment? So you need to ask yourself that question at the end of the day. I also saw a question from Samuel, is that what is an advice you can give a person who is already a specialist in HR because he's of the organization he is, but he actually wants to be a generalist? Oh, interesting question. So you're a specialist in your group, but your desire is to be a generalist. So start to, remember when I mentioned those 7 ticks, one of them is to expand your capacity. So for example, you are being a specialist and you are in learning and development and recruitment, reach out to the people who do generalist work and start to join them on their projects. If there is no generalist role in your organization, maybe you start to think about looking for another job where you can get a generalist role. But one of the things you can start to do is that you start to reach out to the other part of other specialist parts and start to get involved in it. So if you are in performance management, for example, start to work more with people in labor relations. I mean, sometimes in my career, actually last year to be precise, because the learning does not change, I actually went to do a 3-month stint in labor relations. I never did labor relations in my life, but I knew I just needed this somewhere under my belt. So I actually was physically attached to a labor relations group, and I saw great value in it. So that's one thing you may want to do if you are in a specialist role and you want to expand your capacity.
Thank you so much, sir, for the response as well. I believe Samuel has taken note of that. And every other person who have asked questions, I strongly believe that okay, I think we are also having another question there from Shelfo. Let me check our time. Okay, we can still take that question. It says, My question is, if you work under head HR who always assign duties that are problematic to you, after he must have tried solving it, but to no avail, how do you handle such issues?
This, you're developing, okay, interesting. Madam Iwo is here, so she can help us. How do you develop muscles? You develop muscles by lifting weights. If you lift the weights that you have always lifted, your muscles will remain the same way. But when you lift heavier weights, then you can develop bigger muscles. So if somebody is giving you a big job, tough assignment, you remember when I mentioned expand your capacity, it's actually expanding your capacity. So it's good. It makes you go and work. And you remember I also mentioned form relationships. So if you go and join WhatsApp of HR people that know, that question they have given that your guy can't solve, that they are thrown to you, take it to that WhatsApp group and say, oh, I've been asked to deal with this. Please, can you give me a suggestion? Call the senior HR people you know. Oga, they gave me this job. When you solve the problem, you will shine. Of course, the man will respect you more. But remember, the reward for good work is more work. He will send bigger ones. But you're developing your capacity in the process. For those of us who read the Bible, David was a regular guy. That was just one guy that would have just been following sheep. It was because he killed Goliath. That's why he became popular. So your guy is giving you your Goliath. Rejoice and be happy and celebrate your Goliath.
Yes, thank you so much, sir, for that response. Indeed, the reward for good work is more work. Yeah, so even if the maybe head of HR is unable to do it, then by you maybe trying to solve that problem, and if maybe eventually you were able to handle it, it's also a kudos to you. So thank you so much, sir, for that. I strongly believe we have had a very wonderful time here with all the questions that we have had and the response that that Prof has provided us. He has also said out his name, which I've already typed on the comment. Sorry about that. This medicine group, they are also disturbing us here, but they can't even reach where we have already gotten to. Okay, so as I was saying, his full name has already been typed on the platform. So if you want to connect with him on LinkedIn, do that so that the conversation will continue. Because definitely, like I said in the beginning, this is a mentoring platform where even after now, you can still reach out to any of the speakers that some people are laughing because of what I said about the medical group that are disturbing us here. So yes, so reach out to him or any of the speakers, ensure you connect with them very well. So after this, those who are around Ikeja, you can come. That is if only you will meet us here. We are already celebrating Dr. Ayo's birthday, but that is if only you will meet us here. But in case you didn't meet us, there's nobody you are going to hold accountable. So thank you to all our speakers, though some of them are not here. Thank you, Prof. Thank you to everyone who started with us, and to this moment we are here. I strongly believe that we have learned a lot, and we need to continue the conversation. The platforms we are already using will be there. We are not going to just discard it for now, because anyone who still have issues that need to be addressed, you can always ask your question there and they will be attended to. If it is something that you need to be connected to someone who will help you with maybe solving other problems, the platform is there for you. If you are not there already, after now, if you are in the general group, you can let me know so that I can add you to the HR platform. So once again, I say thank you, and this is where we will be ending the session for today. And I say, have a wonderful time wherever you are, and let us keep connecting and ensure the goal of Career Summit is achieved, because this is a platform we want to use to develop a lot of both HR and non-HR leaders. Thank you and have a wonderful time.
Thank you.